Welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast, folks. Got a great show for you with Lance and Galen and Josh of the 2-Lane Life Crew. These dudes are rad. They're putting down miles. They're hitting these 2-lane roads across America. And their YouTube channel is really badass, and it's a great follow if you guys are looking for some inspiration. Also, want to thank my guys over at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets for keeping me fresh with some badass helmets. Did you guys see the new release of the FTW? Foxtrot Tango Whiskey, I think is the way they say it. And it's a white camo. It's really badass. Check them out. Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram and simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com. Lexin Moto has an intercom system for you. The all-new Lexin G16 is the group rider's long-awaited answer to an affordable intercom system. With a 16-rider comm system, Bluetooth 5.0, and music sharing, it'll keep your group connected while traveling together. This is another great product from the Lexin team, geared at making motorcycle rides and travel more enjoyable. Check it all out at lexin-moto.com, where you can apply the Fast Life offer code and save yourself 15% off. And give them a follow on Instagram at lexinmoto. thundermax has your EFI-equipped Harley-Davidson covered with their high-quality auto-tuning ECMs. I have been running their computer on my Road Glide for over 40,000 miles, and it continues to give me the optimal performance out of my engine. Paired with a touring oil cooler fan, my bike has been running strong and at a desirable temperature. You can check out these products at shoptmax.com and use offer code FASTLIFE to save yourself 10% off. And as always, give these guys a follow on Instagram at thundermaxefi. I switched all my lighting on my Road Glide to Electric Lighting Co. I'm a huge fan of their looks and their improved visibility I get from the shark tooth headlight. And I'm digging the 5-year warranty on the 15 different LED headlight options they have for your motorcycle. Their deluxe and premium LED turn signals offer 530 lumens of bright white running light, which are the brightest in the industry, and have a lifetime warranty. And last but not least, the LED tail lamps come in a wide range of design to add that finishing touch, and all products are plug and play. NAM's custom cycle products since 1999 have been offering American-made wiring products for all things V-twin, and Badlands for over 30 years have been offering the most reliable and dependable lighting modules in the USA, backed by a lifetime warranty. Find out more about these great companies at namscustomcycleproducts.com, and you can drop the FL 2020 offer code, which gives you free shipping on orders over $100. Check them out. John Jessup's Team Dream Rides out of Stockton, California is a one-stop shop for you to have your motorcycle customized, maintained, repaired, and upgraded. With in-house dyno tuning and parts and accessories. Also, check out teamdreamrides.com online store to see the full array of products for your bike and you as a rider. And if you're short on cash, you can take advantage of the 100 days same as cash financing on all products. TeamDreamRides.com. All you need is a job and a bank account. And while you're at it, give John and the team a follow on Instagram at DreamRidesJohn. Paint Huffer Metal Flake has been with our podcast since day one, and I've been using their flakes and pearls in my paint work for over 4 years now. You can get started down this custom paint path with many must-have items in the custom paint process at painthuffer.com. And you can save yourself some coin by using the FastLife25 offer code. And last but not least, you can get a lot of inspiration by checking out all the amazing paintwork created with Paint Huffer products at Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram. Yeah, these guys came out. They rode here to Texas. I wouldn't say specifically just to see us and do the podcast, but they really did make me feel that way, and I appreciate that, Lance, Galen, and Josh. Also, I was trying to get my guys, my riding buddies that I've done a lot of miles with, which is James and Big Will Cody. James had a back problem, so he couldn't get out of the house. He's an old man. But Cody came out, and he helped me kind of navigate the conversation with them to kind of share some of our experiences with the 2-Lane Life Crew. It ended up being a great time. And I met these dudes in Fort Worth. I took them through a quick tour of Dallas, went down to our Anvil pub, had a couple cold snacks, came back to the podcast, and we had a good time. And I think we all got a little drunk, which is a good time for any of us. So Thank you guys for checking it out, man. It's a really good one. After we did this podcast, the next day we rode out and we went down to the Bandera, Texas, and we tried to do some of the Twisted Sisters, but we only ended up doing one of them, which is enough for my old ass. Needless to say, I'm glad to announce we had a good time. And you guys can check this out in video form as well if you want to go over to our YouTube. If you just want to hear this one, here it is, 2 Lane Life. Let's go.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
We're live now.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
We're live?
So you just get started like that, I see.
I think when you sneak it in on them.
No, I like that. That's
that
my
way
thing.
you get like, if you start the channel or start the podcast where it's like, so Galen, Lance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it does kind of command attention immediately, but
Right.
I like that absence of what was taking place before the button got pressed. Like, what did they say? What was it, you know what I mean? Because sometimes I've caught people in the middle of shit that's like, just fucked up things that are being said. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like one of the last podcasts we did was with Baker Drivetrain, and my buddy Steve Chamberlain and Burt Baker's wife was saying something about his balls, and I caught him like mid thing right between it. So she's like, "Oh, I'm thinking about your balls right now," or some shit like that.
Got it between his balls?
Well, they started calling him Ballsworth
Gotcha.
by the end of the podcast. It was a good time.
I'll jump off the bike and run over with the camera. Just go, Galen, what do you think? And he's like, just pulled over. He's not ready. He's like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't say, what are you doing? I just stare at you.
Yeah, he stares, and then I go,
Really?
What do you think of that mountain range right there? And he's like, what mountain?
So, you know, I had to re-listen to the other podcast we did earlier this year, just so that I didn't re-tackle any things that we kind of went over on that podcast. But I think that you guys have done enough shit this year that we should be able to fill out a couple hours of fucking crazy shit right here.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, the first one was a complete lie. Let's get that out there.
Start over.
No.
Stop lying.
I think when we started that podcast, was COVID already happening already? Like, I can't remember that. I think I skipped through that part.
I don't think.
Yeah, it had just
I think
started. It had just started, and we'd been able to travel a little bit, and we had kind of missed a couple. The towns when it just started, we had to do some rides without going to places and do, pack our own lunches and stuff. And it was,
Yeah.
I think it was like our 3rd or 4th ride by the time we did the podcast.
Yeah, because I want to say the podcast was probably in March sometime, and that's, I
Yeah.
think, when everything started to shut down everywhere.
We didn't stop.
It didn't,
See
yeah.
what was
We
on
didn't
the-
stop. We kept going and going and
We
going.
have it on the channel, right?
Oh, there.
Yeah, we can see the date.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, fuck, dude. It was crazy how much. You still streaming?
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't usually say it, and we really don't bring it up in any of our videos. You don't hear it.
Right, we
'cause
try to
don't-
stay away from it.
We don't want to talk about
Yeah.
it. We want to ride.
That's kind of the thing too, man. Like, I don't like talking about it either, but it's definitely the elephant in the room.
No,
in just
here
about every-
we can talk
you know,
about it. You know?
It's more like I constantly get messages a lot from guys saying stuff like, "How are y'all guys doing that stuff? Like, are you still going to do this even though COVID's going on?" And then I feel like, am I being teed up to be shit talked to?
Right.
You know, it's like, really, like, we've been partying, we've been doing campouts, we've been riding across the country the entire year. We've been to Tennessee. We've crossed off so many states this year, and it feels normal everywhere until you go into a restaurant.
Right. But our whole thing is positive vibes, ride, the adventure, fun. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
want to bring that kind of crap up when.
Exactly. I get what you're saying.
You know
there.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's funny, we saw a thing the other day that said, so let me get this straight. It's okay to eat inside when you're outside. And it was a picture of a tent with tables in it.
Right.
So to me, what it is, it just none of it makes sense. There's no common thread through it.
Yeah.
Like, if someone just said to you, like, okay, everyone has to wear masks, and you have to, in between bites, but you got to put, maybe, and everyone had to do that. Or
Yeah.
if they said, no masks at all, there's no commonality. Every state has different rules.
Yeah.
Different restaurants interpret the rules differently. So there's no commonality to it.
That's the confusing part
Yeah.
about traveling and everything, right? And then it's like one's pointing at the other. It's your fault that it's spiking and blah blah blah, and it never seems to end.
Yeah.
But regardless of that, I know that myself, my buddy, our guys, we've been riding our asses off all year, and I know you guys have been doing it times 10 too as well. So,
Well, I just got that new road glide
uh-huh.
a month and a half ago, and it's got 7,000 miles on it. So, yeah, we've been riding.
So you do ride?
We try to ride.
Well, to answer your question earlier, you asked how long am I going to keep my bike?
Yeah.
Well, it's got 64,000 miles on it now, and I'm probably going to go. I'm going to get to 100.
Do 100?
Yeah, why not?
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I mean, it's running fine. Everything on it I like. Why change it? You know?
Dude, these M8s are solid, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I pulled that motor out and at 38,000, and I've got 45. I'm about to hit 46,000 now with the new motor. So what's that?
Really?
8,000 miles since September.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, but granted, that's going to New York and back, and then Florida and back.
But
And,
that's riding.
that's what
You're doing it.
What's about?
You're not in a trailer getting it there, you know?
Well, I'm actually really surprised on this new. I've done no motor work,
Yeah.
and I'm just gearing, and it
Still
it
pulls
goes.
good. I feel like these M8s, man, a cam and you are more than it's more than enough.
100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
And-
my last 117, we did a 521 cam and did the lifters, and I mean it was 121 horse, 130 torque,
Yeah,
and it
that's
was
good.
moving,
It was good.
you know. But I'm just really surprised at this bike. It was year 2 when we bought the 2018, so that was year 2 of M8.
Yeah.
We still had some leaking issues and things that were going on, but this one seems to be pretty. We'll get with fueling and do some little upgrades
Yeah.
to it.
I think mine was a Tuesday build.
Yeah,
Never
that's what you
leaked.
want,
It
man.
was perfect.
Yeah.
It was like, at 8,000 we changed and did all the fueling stuff to it, and it's been.
Although
And the
when-
guys at fueling, they go, you will never have a problem. I mean, you could, but
Although when you tore the heads off, there was some at that point
When it
they
was
were-
stock.
Yeah, they were having some problems with the breather. Wasn't sealing right, and so it was just taking in dirt.
I had actual mud on my pistons from getting sucked into the open gap behind the air cleaner.
So apparently, what is kind of a faulty thing that I've heard from the guys at House of Harley and other people is that the intake manifolds are plastic and they have a tendency to warp and therefore cause intake leaks. So mine was warped. I didn't feel it power wise,
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was clearly leaking. You know what I mean? That's kind of a test to how good the motors run.
Right.
But upgrading to some kind of like HPI throttle body, even if it's like a very similar stock throttle body, is probably an ideal thing for anybody that's putting miles down on their bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Yeah, I
then
would
when he
think so,
bought his
too.
bike, I'm like thinking, gosh, I should get one. But I'm like, they're limited on colors right now. And then I thought, okay, I have suspension, I have bars, I have risers, I have pegs, it's set up the way I like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want
Same-
to do that again.
Same thing happened to me when I bought my Road Glide. I bought it literally a couple weeks after my other buddy bought a Sport Glide right when it came out, and I was perfectly content with my bike. But because he got a new bike, I had to have a new
Right,
bike.
right.
It was.
I mean, I couldn't get a bike this year anyway because he got the color I would probably have got.
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That would be weird if y'all's bike
knew
looked
it.
exactly.
What are you talking about?
I'm the red and the orange, and I like the. When I'm out in the mountains or the desert
Yeah.
or the areas, and your bike pops against the earth, and you
So
can
you
get
need a blue
pic-
bike.
That would be cool
He
too.
had a blue one.
I had a blue one. I had a blue
Yeah.
Street Glide, and I had a black Street Glide.
Hey,
And I had
Jace, do you mind? Can I have a Montucky
Cold snack.
cold snack?
Yes, sir.
This is a lager, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, and it looks like they give back to charity too.
It says, well, it's kind of a
8% back to local charity. Local
well, everybody
causes.
thinks it says 8% alcohol, but it
Right.
says
No,
8% back
I was
to
like,
charity.
oh, nice beer.
What's cool about it is like their Instagram is like a whole. They haven't quite caught on. I think that I'm trying to be the movement of bikers drinking this beer.
Yes.
Because it's good beer and it's cheap. Like this 6-pack of Tall Boys is like $7.
Really?
Yeah, it's good. Now, they're kind of like, you know how like the mullet is back, right? For a lot of
I've heard that.
for a lot of people in the bike scene, everybody's rocking mullets now, and their whole branding is kind of based on that shit. You know,
I just cut mine Thursday.
You had one?
I had one.
Get her done.
Yeah.
And so their branding is very on point with the kind of bike culture that, like, I think our generation is kind of putting out there right now. Like, we're not like hardcore ringed out dudes that are kind of like, you know, have to talk to him first and then him and him. Right. You know, like, we're just out here having fun and joking out. And like, there was a deal last year for our or this year for the Campout, right? Everybody was growing a mullet for the Campout. And one of our closest buddies, Kyle, he goes by Jive Ass Honky on Instagram. I've
seen that handle.
He's got the fucking master mullet, dude. I'll show you.
Hey, so your Campout was when? Have you had 2?
This will be 4 next year. So we've had 3 so far.
And then because we were talking about, speaking of COVID and all that stuff, you said, look, we're just going to have it.
Yeah.
So when it was it the end of? Yeah,
it was the end of April.
So we were probably the beginning of April when we did the podcast, because it took about two weeks for you to bring that out.
Oh yeah. So,
but you were already planning the camp.
It was a weird time when we were trying to do the Campout, because I had a bunch of people ask me if it was still going on. I was in a weird place where I felt like, am I going to get canceled if I do it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because everybody was starting to get on this whole bandwagon of compliance. And I didn't really want to do that, but I didn't want to do this as a public statement of defiance. I just wanted to do it.
Right.
I just wanted to go to the Campout. I wasn't trying to make a statement about it, saying that we bikers don't follow rules, whatever the case may be. I just wanted it to happen.
You did exactly what we felt and would do, because we keep riding.
And I think I text you after it, and you're like, how did it go? And you're like, it was great.
Dude, I got a growth on my neck. It's fucking wild.
Well, that's a pretty big mosquito that got you then.
But no, it's just one of those things, man. Like I said, it was a weird summer, right? We were all on limbo, knowing if Sturgis was going to happen.
Right.
Born Free gets canceled. Laconia gets canceled. I had this huge Northeast trip planned in June that I was going to get to see everything. New York, Boston, had a Airbnb in Cape Cod. Everything was going to be badass, and it all got canceled just because of this COVID stuff.
Right.
And
I'm surprised Sturgis didn't, but I saw a show on how much the city brings in income-wise, and they didn't want to lose, you know.
I think it still
for
would
that
have
kind
happened
of
anyway. If they would have canceled it, I bet bikers still would have showed up.
We had
we were going.
So we were going.
No matter what.
We were going.
Because for us, honestly, Sturgis, it's the ride there and back for us.
Yeah.
We have fun when we're there, don't get me wrong, but we have such a blast getting there and coming home. It's like, that's what we do.
Did you sanitize these mics first?
No, there's definitely COVID in those mics. There's definitely COVID, probably hepatitis C.
Did you hear that?
Maybe a little AIDS, a little sprinkle, a little AIDS on there.
Can you speak into that? Say that a
little bit harder. No, you're right. You're absolutely right, and that's one of the things you said on like one of the last videos I was watching. It's like, or no, that's what. I'm getting confused because I listened to the podcast we did earlier this year, recently, between also watching some of the Route 66 drops that you guys have been doing. But yeah, it is the ride there, man. And it's like the whole point is to try to figure out how to make, even if you live in a shitty part of the country where there's not a scenic route there, go around it.
Right.
Find another way. Like, it doesn't have to be the shortest route.
Right.
Usually when we go there, we go from Dallas into Colorado and up 25, and that way we're in the mountains and shit, to avoid like Kansas and Nebraska and all that shit.
But you're in our vibe. I mean, Monument Valley. You dig Monument Valley.
Oh, that's my spot.
Isn't that cool?
I want to conceive a baby there, dude.
Have you been? You could do that.
Can I conceive a baby?
I was just gonna say, you want to conceive a baby,
or I want to. I want to
make a baby there.
Oh, there you go. Conceive would be like my legs over my head and popping it out. Huh?
Yeah. And
no.
By the way, I'm the giver.
You're the giver.
I'm not the taker.
Have you been to the San Juan River Inn?
months right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to the San Juan River?
Power bottom.
The San Juan, where's that at?
San Juan River Inn.
Right past Monument Valley.
It's a little
So
hotel.
is that where we ate at? Yeah, we ate lunch there. Yeah.
We stayed there 2 or 3 times now, right?
Yeah.
It's right on that river, right?
Yeah. That's a cool place.
The first time we stayed, they were kind of shut down, and we got there, but the scenery was spectacular. And then these horses came across the river.
Swam.
So we had the horses
through.
come up this year, didn't we?
To the monument.
Last year.
Yeah.
And then they opened the grill for us and cooked us some amazing burgers. It was great.
See,
Yeah.
we defied everything and went.
But we were, I mean, we've seen a lot of bikes out on the road this year.
Oh yeah, dude. Campers and bikes have been. Seems like everybody's like, well, shit. If I'm shut down, if I'm working from home, I'm just gonna like. I have a buddy that sells campers, and he said we've been sold out. We've been
RV sales,
everybody's doing
rentals,
RVs,
everything.
Have you been?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
In Yellowstone, it was like camper fucking city. It was like if Sturgis for campers was a thing, it was in Yellowstone this year, and we were behind every one of them.
We have a cabin just outside of Yellowstone.
Yeah, it was in Idaho, right?
Yeah, and we went up to a wedding in Jackson Hole, and we decided to come back through the park, and it was the busiest this year than I've ever seen it.
It was
just packed full of people.
We were talking about this a little bit last night, and we did our recap of our Sturgis Yellowstone trip, and I wasn't super stoked about Yellowstone, man. Like, it's really not my vibe,
right?
You know, like we did the Geyser, what is it called, Old Faithful. It happened.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, holy shit, dude! Did you see it? It just squirted out. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't do anything for me, and like the whole area was so overrun with tourism,
right?
That it like. Put it like this, like one of the reasons why I love Monument Valley is that people don't really stay there. They kind of go get their Instagram photo and they keep moving.
They're gone.
So you have this moment usually if you're hanging out for a minute of just being there alone with like maybe your friend or something, as opposed to all these other famous areas get so like you're looking for the hole to get a picture of it that looks like it's in nature and you found this cool thing and really there's a fucking school bus behind you with kids getting out. I just don't like that vibe, man.
Well, you would have liked it if you had a Huckleberry ice cream in your hand. Right?
Have you been to the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, same thing for me.
He talks shit about that too.
I'm not a huge fan.
I just walked up to that.
That footage that you got was fucking sick. I mean, that perspective would make me want to go there, but then I would be disappointed with getting there and the lines and the tourism and the gift shops and all that shit. It just like we're supposed like this whole like push for nature and traveling on bikes and wanting to get back to the roots of like feeling like a cowboy.
Right.
I don't like when you get to this place and there's school buses everywhere and there's like lines to go take a dump or something. Like it just doesn't resonate well with me.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I totally understand what you're saying, but I've been going there since I've been 17.
Yeah,
I've run the river, the whole canyon 3 times. So when I walk up, I could have been there 500 times, and every time I walk up to the rim, it's like, whoa, like gnarly. So I like to see it.
We came at a good time. Like it was my first time. There was no buses. There was no nothing. We walked up and we shot our footage and whatnot, and there was not really people looking.
Maybe 50 people.
But
it was uncrowded.
That'd be fair right there.
If it wasn't COVID, if it was during summer, it would have been packed. I mean, there was 10 cars in the parking lot compared to 300.
Well,
and they turned the east end because, and you know, what were you going to say? But they turned the east end off because as we've traveled this year, the most impacted places were the Indian reservations.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shut down.
So you need to go to the North Rim.
That's where I wanted to go. We went by there last year on that trip, but we went through like you guys were talking about Lake Powell. Is that what's back there?
Yeah,
that's a badass area.
But the reason why you got to go through there to the North Rim is it's hard to get to. So they do not have the traffic and the people on the North Rim. It's 1,000 feet higher than the South Rim. It's a dope. You got to go there.
I like that because we were actually.
That's where the Horseshoe Bend is, right?
No, Horseshoe
that's
Bend's out of
Page.
Okay.
Yeah. We went through there, but we were trying to make time to Monument Valley last year. When we were on the trip that we actually did the podcast with you on. So we left LA after Born Free, went to Vegas, and then we were doing Vegas to Monument Valley, but we wanted to stop and see Zion.
Yeah.
But it was off the beaten path, a little bit too much for us to go stop through there. And then we wanted to go see Antelope Canyon, but it was kind of off the beaten path. It's like this needs to be a 3-day trip from fucking Vegas to.
Have you been to Goosenecks?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so
I've only went through that spot one time, and that was last year. And
so if you go to Monument Valley, spend the night at the San Juan Inn.
Okay,
and then it's right around the corner, and it's
15 minutes.
It's like 4 Horseshoe Bends. It's not as awesome as Horseshoe Bend, but it's Gooseneck, and you see that same vibe.
Yeah.
But even Horseshoe Bend changed since the last time we were there.
Yeah, it's more touristy.
Now they've built some things, and you got to pay to get in. You used to just park down in a dirt parking lot and hike over.
Yeah.
Now you've got a whole, progress.
That's the thing about like even like the salt flats. The salt flats are so big and it's spread out that I feel like you can kind of get your own piece of the pie,
right?
Because it's kind of, you can be wherever you want. And like when we got that picture, it was obviously underwater at the time, so we couldn't like go drive out there or ride out there and find it. But well,
back in the day out there used to be a place, I think it was called Salt Air. Mm-hmm. And it was a novelty. People would go out there and float in the lake.
For real?
And then it shut down, and then people have tried to reinvent that stuff out there, and no one goes out there. Mm-hmm. Maybe the smell, maybe the brine shrimp, maybe the flies. I don't know, but it's never survived. No one's ever been able to make anything work out there.
And you got on the mittens. I'm looking at that picture on the wall.
Yeah, so that's from the View Campground on the south side of Monument Valley. So when you're like passing, you hit that long Forest Gump Road, and then you go around it, and then as soon as you cross over into Arizona, there's a left, and you take that like a mile and a half, and there's a campground and a hotel over there.
And you got that view?
Yeah, that's the view. And what's awesome about that place too is you can, if you time it right. So I have a picture somewhere, but it's not really good enough quality to blow it up. But you get the Milky Way, and sometimes if you time it right in the year, you can get it right above, like going into the mittens and shit.
Really? See, I want to see the Milky Way at night. You got to go at 3 a.m. and leave the.
You need a camp out there.
You need a camp,
Get a cabin out.
It's amazing, right?
Oh, man.
So is that? Do you have hair in that picture?
No.
Huh?
I have hair, but it was I have helmet hair is what I have right there.
Gotcha.
Which is not much, but
I don't know.
Well, when we went to the mittens, we pulled.
I can grow hair here. I just can't grow it up there. Yeah.
We pulled into the parking lot at the visitor center, and it was closed. We went by barriers, and we went up, and we parked our bikes right there. Wrong time of day because the sun was coming. It's better at sunset from that vantage.
Yeah.
But we were in there. We got some pictures, did some stuff, and a truck raced over and kicked us out. What the hell are you doing here? Get out of here!
One place you can't go to that everybody talks about is Shiprock. You ever heard of that place?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's like deep in I forget what the Indian tribe is there, but you can't fly drones over there. You can't
fly drones at the Grand Canyon either.
Places.
You can't fly drones. You really don't need to buy drones.
Yellowstone either.
Yeah. I mean, we got lucky. He walked across the road, got in the tree line, and did a quick.
Well, the ranger went by. And then it was like, we probably have 10 or 15 minutes that we can, before they come back.
Yeah, that drone stuff, man, it's so crazy how they crack down on it so hard. You know what I mean? But it's like, then you go to their visitor center, and they got all these drone shots that you can buy.
Right.
Like photography of like the whatever the Grand Canyon. It's like, that's a drone shot, dude. And it's like.
Right.
Well, I was watching something before this because they were saying, we should try and get drone shots there. And I've had my fair share of sketchy experiences with a drone out in a place you really shouldn't, other countries too. So I looked it up, and there was a video that guy made on YouTube, and he said there's an airfield close by, so you can fly RC planes but not drones. So he brought up to the lady saying, you can put a camera on those, because that was their reasoning, is you can't have a camera, but you kind of just got to make it happen if you need it.
Having the smaller ones, like you have the air, it's smaller, so it feels like a little bit easier to get up and out. That's what Jacob had too. And so we were in this cul-de-sac of a campground in Yellowstone, and we didn't even know about this shit. We sent it up, and in this campground, every cul-de-sac has a camp snitch, right? And all that snitch does is drive around in circles and make sure there's only two tents per site, because we don't want to disrupt the ground or the environment.
Right.
And I'm like,
in a paved campsite.
Yeah. And it's like, first off, there's bear signs everywhere. I'm from Texas. We don't fucking have bears here. Right? So I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, what if we just put we got enough campsites for all of us to camp there, but what if we just put all our tents together? We're better in numbers, right?
Right.
10 dudes can kick a bear's ass, right?
No.
They can make enough noise to scare it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You're dreaming there. But anyway, so.
So you see me fight me.
You better jump in hell of a bear.
So.
That's funny.
The whole thought process was like, well, when we come to these campsites, we want to kind of reenact our vibe that we have at our campouts, where we just want to get a central fire and we all want to sit around it, drink beer, talk about the day riding, and crash out. But I don't want to go down a trail into the woods at night in Yellowstone, trying to get my tent, and I'm fumbling around.
And a bear eats you.
Well, the good thing is that we all snore loud as hell.
Right.
So that bear
that attracts bears.
Come on.
I'm telling you.
It's their mating call.
You said something interesting, like you like to be around the fire, talking about the day, drinking a beer. So every time we've gone to Sturgis, we either get a house, a cabin, something. One year we got the motel in Deadwood, the hotel. And that was a drag because we missed that everyone in the living room.
Right.
Bad host.
Everyone in the living room drinking a beer, doing whatever.
Barbecuing.
I mean, that
the
was...
house would work too, and I've overlooked that aspect, and that's something we talked about in the last podcast, is that, when you go to these things, like I've always said, the hotels is what ruins a lot of things.
Yeah.
When we did Sturgis this year, every hotel we stayed in, we turned the parking lot into a campground.
Yeah. Nice.
So the first hotel, we were in Woodward, Oklahoma. We just ordered pizza, had 12 packs everywhere. We just sat on a curb and...
Well, there was a hotel in...
That's how it is.
Yeah.
Was it in Wyoming, or where was the one we stayed and had the chuck wagon? And
Yeah, that was Wyoming.
And it was awesome because no one was in the rooms. Everyone was going to Sturgis, bikes. It was like an outdoor party.
He just liked it because there was one room next to his, and the dude had his door open with his chick on the bed, and she was naked.
She left the door open so everyone walking by could see her.
Oh, yeah, brother.
She wasn't worth that, I'm telling you. I was like, Ethel, get your clothes on.
Thank you, Jaybird.
And they call him the street.
So we on the way to Sturgis this year, we're ripping down a back road in Wyoming, and we're always racing.
Yeah.
Just like coming here with you guys, the race was on, right? So Lance and his buddy were racing, and the cop was there. Mm-hmm. And, of course, he got a ticket. Lance got the ticket, and Cole did. He said Cole was going 107. Lance was going 98, but Cole was behind him, so he had to go 107 to catch him, and that's what the cop said. Mm-hmm. So, Cole, you're good. You get the ticket, buddy.
Wow. So he got a prize for winning the race.
Yeah, he won the race, so he got the prize, the ticket.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, we've been doing the same campground in Sturgis for the last couple of years. Me and my brother kind of found it the year that we went, and it's kind of like the perfect spot for us. It's like right at the edge of Sturgis. They have a bar there that...
Is it outside of town? Is it out?
It's
Lozelle and 90.
Oh,
it's right at the intersection of the highway.
Wait, so that's where our house was.
Where the house was,
Yeah.
For real?
On 90, like it was the main road coming down to...
Yeah, so 90 and Lozelle. So we were... I guess there's like a Dollar General and a O'Reilly's right there, and we're kind of behind
that was right up the street.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And what about when the rain comes hard?
Dude, it came 3 times this year. He came 3 times this year. It was there was a couple times, like the day we did Monument Valley, we were trying to race back because we saw the storm coming, but fortunately it stayed in the hills, and when you're on 90, you can kind of see those storms brewing.
You said Monument Valley, you meant Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. My bad.
Monument Valley is good too.
Cody says, fact checker, please, fact checker.
But yeah, we got rained on pretty hard like 3 nights in a row.
One year we went to Monument Valley and we got snowed out. We couldn't get there.
For real?
But the cloud layer was so low, you couldn't see anything. The visibility. So we went to Flagstaff and...
I mean, I have to tell you, we admire you guys that do the camping. Mm-hmm. I've tried to talk him into maybe doing it like... He kind of likes a hotel and a...
I'll camp at the Comfort Inn.
With a hot shower.
No, if we had a big group of people, I'd camp. I'd do it. I got a knife.
All right.
I'm ready.
Is that for bears?
Yeah, this is for bear.
I mean, we did a little drop with our wives during this pandemic, and I took a Saddleman 3500 and stuffed a Coleman grill in it, and we went up to the mountains and we cooked on the grill, and that kind of stuff is, you're out in nature.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying about the national parks. I mean, that's tough. Everyone's got their own little zone.
They really don't allow you to. They have so many rules, and the rules. Right. Make the whole point of camping is to feel freer than we feel normally. That's too many F's. Freer than we feel
Say that 3 times fast.
But no, I know what you mean, man. Like I said, it's so a lot of the campgrounds, you know, I don't know if you guys have this on the West Coast, but between here in Oklahoma or here in Florida, there are a lot of biker campgrounds, right? That are like RV parks that are designed for bikes.
Really?
Right?
Yeah,
and
I don't think we have a lot of that.
Some of them are trashy as shit. Like the one we just went to last weekend for the down south campout, it was fun, but it was trashy.
Yeah.
I didn't shower. I felt cleaner not showering.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we have a lot of that stuff out here because we don't really have anything else like to do. Like we have cool riding, but like you go to the Talamina Parkway, it's a dope ass scenic byway, you know, 200 miles from here, but there's no ocean, there's no mountain like that, you know.
But
like
camping and motorcycles, and I grew up camping and rafting and doing motorcycle rides, and it's a community thing. It's a family thing. It's you want to be, you know, hanging out and just enjoying nature and not have all these super rules on you. And yeah,
I found that the drunker you get, the less
rules,
the less the less comfort you need in the tent.
Yeah,
Right. That's true. Well, have you heard of the Kern River in California?
Yeah, I heard about that.
I guess who does the camp out there? It's like Builtwell, or
I think it is built well.
they do like a Kern camp out.
Yeah.
But I've been going to Kern my whole life, and it's campgrounds on a river. And if you want to go in the high country, you can go camp in the high country and do what you want to do.
but I don't think there's anything catering to motorcycles out by us. Do you know of anything?
Not specifically. I mean, Kern is a great place. There's a lot of, I go there with my boys every summer. You can take bikes there, but it's kind of, it's a little off the beaten path.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of rules. You can kind of
Do
walk
whatever.
off and do your thing. But yeah, I can't think of anything that's like specific for bikes.
But I've seen some of the campgrounds you guys have for the bikes, and they're pretty cool.
It's a different
You
vibe,
know?
man. You know, maybe a good segue into some different conversation here, but I think that a lot of us get, or maybe not so much us now that we've ridden so much of the country, that we find the gyms and all the shitholes, basically.
Yeah.
But I feel like now that I've actually ridden coast to coast, like New York, Cali, both of it, there's a lot of stuff I've missed. But what I'm trying to get at here is there's something badass about every area. It might not be as cool as the PCH, or it might not be as cool as Needles Highway, but it's still pretty fucking dope.
No,
you know what I mean?
You're 100% right. Like he suggested going places. I'm thinking, and then when we're there, we're like blown away.
Mm-hmm.
Like coming through New Mexico, there wasn't much happening, but we went through the Guadalupe Mountains.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was like, oh man.
Which way did y'all come in? Did y'all go through Alamogordo?
Yeah.
So y'all went up the thing. So you went by White Sands and all that
We
shit?
went up, yeah.
I love that pass.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And even I was telling you today, like Weatherford.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't expecting any of that. And you got-
Were y'all on the highway or off the
No,
highway?
we were on because we were trying to make
Still
time.
nice. You can still see it, yeah.
And people were kind. They were moving over. We were just going, and
If whoever told you to stay off 20, tell them to stay off your chat.
I'm going to have
comms.
to tell them that.
Rick.
We were here last night drinking this podcast. And,
Yeah, people
And-
seem to not like the 20.
dude, Pete,
I think they said mainly kind of Midland area.
It's just because all the old field traffic.
yeah.
And they said the highway wasn't in great repair out there. I don't know.
Well, they got so much traffic out there, they can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Because it just tears the roads up, big heavy oil field trucks.
Yeah.
You know.
But we're on the road a lot, so we deal with a lot. And we
So-
weren't afraid of it, but
Was it Sweetwater we found out has the oldest Harley Davidson
Big
dealership?
Springs.
Big Springs did. Has the oldest Harley Davidson dealership in Texas, 1920 something.
we heard that, and we heard they're closing it.
Is,
For real?
is it that
Are they
one?
really?
Yeah. I thought it's
small,
98
it's
years,
very
and
small.
That's wild.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But we do ride a lot in the winter,
Yeah.
and then we don't see a lot of bikes.
Do y'all have heated gear?
No.
We got layers.
But when you ride in the winter, you see spectacular stuff happen that you wouldn't see in the summer.
Yeah.
But we don't see a lot of bikes out there. You know, it's like,
I think a lot of people are seasonal bikers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, like the I know that like getting into the heated gear concept, something I thought about, like if I wanted to get to like really northern states, even in summertime where you're dealing with trying to go to Alaska or something like that. Like, there's no way you're going to Alaska in June and you're T-shirt riding still. It's got to be cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's probably 70s, low 70s.
Low 70s.
I've been there fishing not in June, July. Maybe June's probably a little cooler, but you're definitely going to have a jacket on.
I rode in Juneau, and that was T-shirt.
Yeah.
Where's Juneau at?
That's just outside of Anchorage.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of on the southern tip.
It's a Kenai Peninsula, and there's Juneau, and yeah.
I want to do that, man.
It's awesome.
It's one of the next ones I got to figure out. We're in the process of figuring out. So our group, we usually do one big ride, like 2.5 week kind of ride a year, and then we'll try to fit in a couple 5 and 7 day rips somewhere. So last year we did the San Francisco run, and then this year we did the Sturgis Yellowstone run. But what's crazy is we'll sit in this room right here with all the guys that go on the trip, and I hook the computer up so there's Google Maps up there,
right? And
we all just start fucking putting our names in the hat. Like, where do you want to go? And next thing you know, we're Google Map. All right, this will be 5 400-mile days in a row, and we're like, all right, we did that the first year. We don't want to do that this time because we skip a lot of shit, and so we spent like 8 or 9 hours figuring out the Sturgis trip this year. And it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all drunk afterwards.
Right. And the run was fun.
It was. I mean, at one point in time, we were going to go to Sturgis, and then I think we called Cody because he couldn't make it. We're like, hey, we're going to Vancouver. And then hung up. And then hung up and we're like, next thing you know, you find yourself like, we're going to be in San Diego after Sturgis. Like, that's not even...
Right.
Well, we're trying to get up into Canada this year.
Yeah. Oh, man. Next year coming up?
Yeah. In 2021. And we may not be able to. Go up into Banff and then across and come down into Glacier.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
And then go into Yellowstone, the place that you love the most, and then go over to my cabin. But the borders may not be open.
I really want to do, we've been talking about doing Nova Scotia. That's been our kind of talk. And I've always wanted to go there as a kid to Halifax, and that's always said Halifax. But our other buddy, James, who couldn't make tonight because he has back problems.
Right.
He's getting old.
All that trick fucking.
He's the one he's the one with the blue bike up there.
Yeah.
That guy, yeah.
Oh, he looks really old.
Yeah, he's so old. He's like the best shape of all of it. But so he's always said, like, I want to go to Nova Scotia. And at some point I just thought he liked saying that word.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, fuck that place, man. I didn't know it was Halifax. It was one of the cities there that I always wanted to go to growing up.
So how do you do that?
What do you mean?
Do you rent bikes?
I would go up there.
Yeah.
When y'all did this Route 66 thing, and then you left the bikes and then had them shipped home, like, it was kind of brilliant. Like, there's a struggle that I have because sometimes the ride home is just as fun to me.
For sure.
So, but getting it for the content, like, which is another thing that I wanted to bring up talking to you guys, but on this subject, to me, I feel like anything between South America and Canada and all that shit, I want to do it on my own bike.
Fair game.
Not renting.
So your pictures look good, and they're your bikes.
Yeah,
and,
fuck yeah, I want to have my
No,
jobs
for
out
sure.
there.
I agree with you. Like we talked about that same subject. We're like, if we're on rented bikes, we have a black bike in every picture that isn't our bike at this great place.
Well, not necessarily. I mean,
Speed wobbles,
like I agree with it too, but so he still has a business that he's running. So if we need to ride across country to New York on our own bikes and then do the whole run, are you ready to take 3 weeks, 2 weeks off?
I beg to differ with you.
We
have a 2-lane life business that we have to do stuff too, so we both have to.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying
right. No, it's
and we have this discussion because we still have. That's the reason why we went back and shipped the bikes back. We had to get back to obligations.
Yeah, jobs.
With 66 too, like you said, part of it is doing the content. If we take the 40 from here to Chicago, it takes 3 days. Mm-hmm. You take the 66 and you want to take the whole thing, it takes almost double. Yeah. So if we're trying to save time and burn back, if you want to enjoy the ride, you take the 66, but it takes more than 3 days than taking the 40. So,
and originally we were gonna fly to Chicago get on bikes and come back.
Yeah.
He at that point said, why don't we do it backwards? I didn't hear that. And then time was going on and on and on. And we're like, hey, we should do it backwards. He's like, that's what I said. So we ended up doing it that way.
That's my idea.
But the funny thing to come out with that is I saw a video the other day on this street. What's the street the sign's on?
I don't remember.
So there's a street where it says starting of trail, beginning of trail, Route 66. Well, the next street over, it says end of trail. So it depends if you're
Which way
coming
you're
from
going.
Santa Monica or,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, so
That
it's,
makes
I would
sense.
figure they would just have it on each side of the sign. Like,
right.
But it really started in Chicago.
Right.
I mean, that's the
To get west.
right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the history of it. They didn't just build Route 66.
Right.
I mean, it's chunks of road, you know, as they added on to it over the years.
Have you done any of it?
I've done parts of Oklahoma, parts of New Mexico, and mainly the stuff that's connected to 40. It's like when we hit Flagstaff and we're coming in through Williams and stuff, like going off that big loop around, like north off of 40.
Right.
I've never been able to do that because it's like usually for us leaving here, that part of the trip to California is like we need to get to the hotel. We're running out of
Right.
daylight.
But I can tell you this, so if you get to Williams and you go off 66 and do the little loop back to Kingman,
Yeah.
it's what, a half hour longer?
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
it's really worth it.
I want to do it.
You know.
There was a part that you guys showed us that I didn't even know was a deal between Needles and Kingman that's off the highway.
That
I thought
Hackberry?
was Hackberry, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, Oatman and then Hackberry.
Oatman, that's what it was,
He
yeah.
got kicked by the donkey.
Exactly.
The jackass.
And those were, I think that was my favorite section from the trip, fun-wise, as
Yeah.
far as the roads. There's a little sand here and there, kind of sketchy, a lot of hairpins, a lot of curves, and a lot of elevation change. So the sun's coming down behind us. You're going up into the hills, coming back down. You see Hackberry, and the whole valley just opens up, and then you're just coming through these badass roads, you know?
It's pretty bad.
Well, and you guys are too young, but there's a movie called Cars.
I was going to bring that up. Cars is a very good, the whole concept of the very first Cars movie is about what took place when interstates overtook routes.
Right.
Basically.
It's a great depiction of what's
Yeah.
happening. And we had some discussion about it, progress or not. Like, there were filling stations, there were cafes. Now it's touristy. And I don't think they can make near the money they could have made when there was, commerce there. But there's some places that have certainly survived. Seligman is a town that has definitely survived. There's one family that came through there on their way to California, came back in and bought, after they retired, and bought 3 or 4 businesses because they just loved the town. But they cater to tourists.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I was riding on it, and I told them, I said, I'm thinking about this. It's like people from around the world come to Route 66.
For sure.
So if it was still the active highway, would people from around the world come to Route 66? Or would, because it's not active anymore,
Yeah. Why? Because it's not.
now there's an attraction to see the nostalgia?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there's certainly not the business.
No,
I mean,
and there's several places wiped out, but I
So-
would say Seligman and Williams score.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably what the towns put back into it to make it an attraction. But
Right.
we left Ruidoso on the way back from Sturgis this year, and which is it's a little bit further north from where you guys were in Carlsbad.
Right.
But you hit these towns in New Mexico that are just like they started and then they just fell apart.
Well, we
Right.
saw a lot of that on Route 66.
You
You
did,
come into
yeah.
these towns, and there's somewhere there's the evolution of new businesses, and you can see even the different architecture, right? And then you got these old school mainstays, and then you come into some of these other towns where it's almost deserted, and you have 1 or 2 buildings left, and it's like, how are they surviving?
But leaving California, Santa Monica, and getting out of California was work because there's places in your, this place, get on this way,
Pasadena, all
and
those things, yeah.
and all these little things in the Wigwam Hotel. And
It took us
go-
6 to 8 hours
to get out of California. But once we got to Barstow, and we were on the 40 a lot in California,
Yeah.
we were on the 66 and we're like looking, going, there's the 40 right there.
Yeah.
With all these trucks on it. We're the only people on 66 right next to it going the same way they're going.
See, I've done that stretch from Needles to Barstow so many times in
Yeah.
my life, and I hate it.
Right.
I almost would rather. There's many things I'd rather do. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I don't like that stretch because it's just like straight, and then you hit a hill, and then you're over the hill, and you're like, okay, maybe this next
Do it in
hill.
the winter.
So you don't want to conceive a baby on needles.
Definitely not.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's gnarly there,
Gotcha.
but
All
we've
right.
done it so many times,
But
and
so-
all year round, and we've been through it after like major rain winters, and you're like, that desert's green and there's flower. We're like, what is going on here? And it's like a whole new thing.
And I will tell you, one of the things we learned about this on this trip, and we didn't do it on the way out here, but we will now start taking 66 instead of the 40. Because the trucks there, they'll pull out and they're like racing each other like the tortoise and the hare. It's like, what's going
you get
on?
stuck behind them while they're passing.
And
they're
so
just doing this
we were
the whole
actually
time.
flying, 90 miles an hour on these roads, and they were not bad roads.
Yeah.
And we could see the trucks just sitting there. It's like,
We're like, why have we
This
never
is
done
great.
this?
Yeah.
new find.
I know that I'll take that path again, and I'll definitely be doing the Route 66
Yeah.
on that part.
But the needles stuff and everything you were saying, if you're there in the morning or in the afternoon in the golden hours,
Yeah.
it's like way
Nice,
cool.
nice, yeah.
But at least get off at Kingman and go in through Cool Springs down into Oatman.
You got to
Okay.
You got to
Yeah.
try it.
I hadn't done it yet, man. Like I
Yeah.
said, that little area right there, that Kingman, Bullhead City, like from there to Vegas to Needles, it's not like there's like these lights over the hill. I'm trying to get to those lights. It's
Right.
the LA lights or the Vegas lights or
Well, go
whatever
up
the
into
case may be.
Oatman, check the town out, and then come back, and then go up Peach.
I do want to do Oatman though. But like those kind of places are for us on like for people like in the Midwest going out there, we have to plan so many more days of our trip.
Right.
Because they're there versus like, I could probably take you to a lot of things that are kind of easy rips for a day for us here, but they add a lot more days on y'all's trip on the long run.
For sure.
Because at some point you have to like get these days where you try to plan it out. We're like, okay, we're going to do this 500-mile day or this 800-mile day, and then we're going to spend these next couple of days might be 250 or 350 days.
And those are nice.
And they're nice. Yeah, you're like, oh my God, we're at our destination at 1 p.m.?
Kind of like today.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Have you guys done the Monkey Doug way?
No, I brought that up in the last podcast. It's like
All the dirt roads.
it's a dirt road on a cliff almost.
Yeah,
They're on-
Switchback. I think 1,600 feet elevation change.
Yeah.
and it's
Pretty
just
hard.
north of Monument Valley and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Mexican Hat, yeah.
It's definitely cool.
Yeah.
We were going to get some drone shots there, but we'll do it again next year or something,
Yeah.
or whenever we're there again.
Whatever.
Someone just-
So he's saying that is
I
on
didn't say
my.
that.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
You don't. Anyone that listens to this bullshit.
How long have I been married?
All right, so
No, I'll get there.
go ahead, tell them.
So we've never gone to the Monkey Doug way from the south to north.
Yeah.
And we've always come north to south. And we just happened upon it the first
Yeah.
time. Because my nav was telling me to go to one direction, and all of a sudden I see what's the town, Mexican Hat,
Yeah.
go this way, and it's like I'm looking, and the nav's like 80 miles, and this is like 30 miles. So I'm like, what? So we just turned,
Yeah.
and boom, we get down there. We had the wives on the back, and we didn't.
We've
the first
rolled
time.
up to it, and we're like, oh shit, it's a dirt road on a cliff.
I've never had a bad experience hitting a dirt road yet.
No,
No, you'd be fine.
Dude, that dirt road we hit in Colorado, like,
Good.
it was one of those things, like I was committed to it.
Was it the same one we were on?
Now, we left Rock Springs, which is actually a cool ass little town if you want to fucking party.
Rock Springs,
Rock
oh.
Springs, Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
And you know where it's at?
Oh, I know where that's at.
It's like a trucker paradise.
Mountains and hills.
So we left there and we were going to Steamboat Springs, and we could go down the highway and then cut down, but there's
So
this,
we did.
Yeah.
there's this path that said like go down south or go south, and then you can catch whatever that highway is. I don't remember what it is. And so there ended up being like 30 miles of dirt road, but it was like you didn't catch it till we were already 50 miles into this
Right.
road, right? So I'm like,
There wasn't no turning around.
if,
Right, you
if
just
we
gotta
turned
go.
around, some of the lowriders, because like your lowrider gets about like 125, 135 to a tank because of the cam and all the
Right,
shit
right.
into it. So we had a couple dudes that were like, just like if we turned around, they wouldn't have made it.
Right.
We had to go through this and figure out where it took us, and and we ended up going through the Irish Canyon.
Yeah,
It was badass. I mean, don't get
Nice.
me wrong, it was dirt roads and it was kind of sketchy, just riding on dirt roads and stuff like that. But
It was actually
I was
nice, the
stoked.
road.
I was
But
like,
you know,
this
that's
is
what
badass.
happens
I've
on
never
trips,
done this.
right?
Well,
Like
the
things like just come out and you got to deal with it. And So we were headed north to go up to the Moki Dugway for our Sturgis trip, and the goosenecks turnoff is where you need to turn. It doesn't, there's no sign, so I've got it on, I can't find it, and we just fly by it. And we get up into some hotel areas, which is like 15 minutes north, and it says Moki Dugway Hotels, and everyone, I'm like, I can't find the thing. So I'm the brunt of the joke. I get because I'm the navigator, all these guys are all pissed at me because we missed the whole Moki Dugway.
I don't think anyone was pissed.
But you got to see some beautiful areas we
Absolutely.
would never have seen before through Moab.
Right, 100%. But
Right.
the dirt road on the Moki Dugway is hard pack,
Yeah.
easy to ride. It's
That's
not
what
any,
this was.
no ruts, no bumps. No,
Yeah.
it's.
There was actually a lot of oil field out in that area, so they kept good roads.
But the thing is when you're on top of it and you start coming down and you're looking down into the Monument Valley Desert,
Yeah.
it's like
but that's
Epic.
epic. So it's worth doing.
But it does take you a fair amount. We would have had to really come circle back
Right.
over towards Moab. It would have taken us off the beaten path.
But that's the
that's
thing.
all right.
And like you were saying, when you run into stuff that happens on trips, wrong turns, this and that,
Yeah.
the best stuff happens. You know,
Right.
Agreed, 100%, man. It's
we'll usually plan, all right, we're going to go to here. Say we got the first night where we're going to stay. After that, it's game on because we could turn left, turn right. Let's go here instead.
Bike could break down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a guy with us this year that he got 100 miles.
So yeah, Rob got 100
tank?
miles per tank. It was a 100th year anniversary. I think maybe an 03 Dyna.
yeah.
But he put a new pipe on it just before the trip. So it was kind of fine before that, but something with the pipe, he got it dynoed, got it tuned, checked out. But for some reason, it was only 100 miles to the tank, and we were pushing $1 on the highway. So that means you got to stop every hour for gas instead of every 2.5 or 3. So
Now, I've heard stories of guys saying you can go to Sturgis with us. This was different groups of people and they were saying this to their guys. But if you don't have a bagger, you're not going.
Right.
Because you have to go 250 miles with us. If you got to stop every 100, we don't want you on the trip.
It's kind of a weird one, right? Because there are times, especially when we go west, there are times where we might have to do a 70-mile stop to catch that next 130-mile stop.
Right,
whatever the
right,
case
right,
may be.
right.
But it's like there's these times where, like, you know, it's like, man, if we could just do 140 on this trip, this next one, instead of 110,
Right.
then we would be in a much better position for the next 3 stops
Right.
to get to where we're trying to go. You know, and I deal with that a lot because, like I said, we have a couple. Our other buddy Larry has he's the one at the very end. He's got a fat bob there with a big motor built, and
he gets like 100.
yeah,
Really?
110. maybe.
110 tops, and it's like
Pushing it.
it just kind of sucks because, like, you know, like we'll get in a groove on like maybe those parts of the day where you're kind of like you're just trying to get there
Right.
and you're just humming along, kind of tunnel vision, don't really know what's going on, a lot of things. And then there's, you know, you can kind of get a lot of shit done at that time frame though, in my opinion. But yeah, then you have an issue where you got to stop, like, and you know, you can't find a good place. Like we left Jackson Hole this year and fortunately there was a couple towns before we got to Rock Springs, but you know, like you never know what those towns are. You know what I
Right.
mean? You never know if there's a gas station that
Right.
still works in those towns,
Well-
unless you're on a major highway.
Yeah, we came out of Four Corners on the way home. And we went through New Mexico and came down, and we were on the reservation, and everything was shut down. Mm-hmm. We had to get to Holbrook, Arizona, to get the gas, and we were limping into there. We were down to like 40 miles an hour.
He was 10 miles till empty.
Yeah.
Just, oh, we don't know
And
where the
just
gas is.
So what do? You push the bike, or
Yeah, we actually, yeah.
You just ran into that, Rob.
So I usually, like, which one of you guys usually lead the trips? Like,
He's always in front.
yeah. I didn't really choose the leader life, okay? The leader life chose me, okay? It's like there's just something about who I am that I am constantly on the map looking for the next stop. Like it's just part of me that, like, as soon as we get to the next gas, or as soon as we hit this restaurant or this gas stop, I'm like, okay, the next one's 120 miles, 130, 140. How do you guys feel? You want to do 120, 130, 140? What do you want to do? And then I'm like, all right. And then after that, we have 100 miles to the next restaurant we're going to go to. And it's just like that planning, that like fatherly planning, I guess is what it feels like. But when you do that, you have to know your shortest tank.
Right.
You have to know your shortest tank and everything. And so when we left the campground coming back from Florida, you know, I was trying to like take this trip and I'm just going to get in the back and chill.
Right.
And when you do that, people fuck up.
Right.
Well, you know, a lot
control
of
it.
our trips, just us three.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was just us, so we didn't have to worry about big groups.
Yeah.
But we've been with 12 guys most of our Sturgis trips, and sometimes we're like, we got to make time, so we're going to get gas here, but everyone keep your helmets on.
No helmets off.
Yeah.
No helmets off, and all of a sudden you see one guy take it off, then another guy. Then you're at the gas station for
And then there's a
45 minutes.
12-pack.
Drinking White Claws.
Game over, you know?
Drinking White Claws and beef jerky. And
Yeah.
But usually the guys will run up if I
Right. And it's like, all right, well, that didn't work.
if I'm running up front, these guys will come up and say how much they have left in their tank.
Yeah.
And my motor's pretty
Yeah,
built.
he's-
I'm put stage 4, big bore, everything. But somehow I still get about. Like at home, the computer will say 170, but on trips like this on the highway, it's like 230.
Yeah.
So I'm really only getting 50 miles
Yeah.
less than they are per tank.
I've filled up with mine, and it said 320 till empty. It changes, and it goes down to 280. And,
Yeah. That's
but
crazy.
I think we're getting 45 miles a gallon, probably.
About 43, 42.
On some of the trips, or on the trip back from New York, I was getting about, because that was the trip I was
Was that
alone.
with the 131?
Yeah. And I thought I was going to lose significant gas mileage, and I didn't.
No.
You know what I mean? So I noticed that, like, you know how, because it's determining your
taking your average.
fuel after your
Right,
last
right.
run. And so there had been times when I was able to push 189, almost 200 miles on a push. But what I would always do was I'd always find the gas station at 120.
Right.
And then as I was creeping up on that, if I felt good still, I would like pull up Google again and go, what's another 30 miles or 40 miles,
Right.
depending on how I feel. And sometimes I would be able to get 180 or 190 out of a one run to a gas.
Right.
Well, if
Because-
we're in the middle of nowhere and we don't know where the next one is and we see one, let's just top off.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Well, we learned that this trip.
Right.
You know, part of our deal was to go down the Devil's Highway and make the whole.
Yeah.
We've been up on the upper end, but make the lower end. We got down into Hannigan's Meadow Lodge, and he had 20 miles left.
Yeah,
30.
27 miles. You got about
We
50.
had 50 on ours, or 57, and we had 67 miles to go.
So we couldn't.
So
And
we had
40
to.
miles back, right?
Yeah. So the lodge owner actually offered some gas out of her gas can. It was probably like this and a half full of water.
Probably had some
So
dirt in
we
it.
were going to dump that in his bike, and then, but we had to flip back around and go back up to a little town called Alpine and get the gas.
Yeah. How do you like when you go to those towns that don't have anything but like unleaded regular?
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Is this gonna blow it up?
We've done it one time where we put regular unleaded in our
Yeah.
bikes, and
So
it was fine.
They both put it in there. I grab it, and I always check, because I've driven turbo cars and stuff. I always check for 91. I go to put it in there. I'm like, you guys know you put 87, right? So we cancel it, redo it. I got the 91. They got the 87. But, you know.
Usually they sell like the ones, the gas stations that have like no premium gas.
Right.
They sell the added the boosters and shit like
Right.
that in it. Which
It ran good on 87 that
was
one
fine.
time.
I don't think for one tank it's gonna hurt it.
No.
Yeah.
all right, y'all keep talking. I gotta go pee and get us more beer.
Jace, could you find some Montucky cold snack, 8% given to local charities, or what does it say?
Local call.
Causes.
Can't-
Yeah, we'll keep talking. So
Just got a
So-
message from four for the road.
yeah.
He saw that post and he says, "Dude, I cannot wait to hear this. Some of my favorite bikers in the room together."
All right.
So
All right, so I want to hear the backstory of. I know last time it was just you two on the podcast with Jace and everything. So, Josh, how did you get tied up with these guys?
Long version or short version?
whatever version you want.
We got all day.
So-
We'll
All
interrupt
night.
you.
So I started off, I don't know how long I've been riding now, but I started off on sport bikes. My barber got me into riding. We rode quite a bit, and his buddy Rob, who works for Trashin, I met him. We rode here and there. I knew him. He was a buddy, you know. And then he eventually found out that I kind of played around with cameras and stuff. So this was probably years later. I had gotten in a pretty gnarly dirt bike injury. I wasn't driving, wasn't walking for better part of a year. And literally 2 weeks after I was walking again, I just hopped back on the bike, and a couple of days later, I get a call from Rob. Hey, my buddies, they're they ride Harleys all over the country, and they need someone to edit their YouTube video that they filmed on a phone. So I'm sitting here. I just kind of solidified some income doing side work with the camera, quit my job and everything, was having fun with it. And here I get a call saying these guys want me to edit a YouTube video from phone footage.
Like, who the hell are these guys?
So I'll let him kind of say their side of things too. But, long story short, I called them. We kind of vibed together. Everything worked out. Personalities matched and whatnot. One thing led to another, and here we are. But his side of things.
Well, we do have a stop for an infomercial. Montucky cold snack just rolled into the house.
8% to local
8% to local causes.
Sixer on the table.
I don't
So I
know.
got two more Sixers down there.
So it was funny because Lance and I decided our families had always encouraged us to, share our story with people. We have been riding for quite a while together, and we were weekenders. We'd go 500 miles out and 500 miles back, leave Friday night, be back Sunday night.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're finding some cool spots out there. So as we decided to start this channel, and we talked about it kind of the last podcast, but we thought it was going to be kind of easy. We had these beautiful iPhones. He had did you have the 12 or the 11 at the time? And I had the 10 or the 9.
I had the 10 at that when we started.
Yeah, and I had and so we think we're getting all this great footage, and this guy in the corner that's a part of the print shop that the T-shirts come through.
Yeah.
We went over and talked to him and said, "Hey, we're going to start this stuff. We've got some footage. Can you show us how to make a vlog?" Mm-hmm. And it was I think it was Apple Movie, or what was the iMovie. And so Lance and I went and sat in this office, and we were watching him do these bars and this and moving. And he's like, "This is really," and we're just going,
We look at each
what
other.
the
and we go,
hell is he
"Fuck
doing?"
that, I'm not doing this.
So we almost just dumped the channel right there. But we happened to walk over to Trashin, and Rob was there. And
You were working there, right?
no, he was
never-
just a friend of Rob's.
I had ridden with Rob a handful of times.
There's another dude
Within
that
a
works there in the shop that I felt like looked like him, or maybe I have my vague memory.
Yeah.
No.
Is it not like in the front office? Like, because the time I came into the podcast, y'all were in the other shop
Yeah.
on the corner, and then you moved into the bigger shop over there, and that's when I bought a T-shirt.
You were at the shop, the big shop.
I came to so when I came and
I think
surprised
when
you.
you first did the podcast, they were on the couch in the first Thrashing show.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. And you talked to Lance for a while, and then you said, "Hey, wait, you and your buddy ride a lot. Tell me what's up."
When we were coming out there, like I said, on that trip back there, we reached out to Lance. You know what I mean? I never followed much of the dirt bike world at all. So
Yeah.
I was only going to be chiming into his involvement in the Harley Davidson part of his career in motorcycling. So, but then at the time, you guys had already kind of built a presence on your own individual Instagram pages,
Right.
doing your little trips and stuff like that, right?
Right.
And then, of course, when y'all would go to Sturgis with Lance and the fueling guys and all these different,
Yeah.
you had this other thing there. And then, like I said, as soon as I pulled up, you were there. We just started chopping it up, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I follow you all your shit you're doing, and this, that, and the other." And we're
Well, and that's how it all just came together,
Yeah.
and we're lucky. And you talk about fate. So we say to Rob, we don't know what the hell we're doing, and he pulls up this video and says, "Look at this one," and we're like, "Well, that's pretty cool." He said, "Well, my buddy did it, right?" And so this is how we meet Josh, and Josh.
Yeah.
We've got, let's
how much
call
they
us
paying you, man? I think I should pay you
too
more.
much.
I can pay you
No,
more,
not
man.
enough. He's well worth every penny. But we've got two older guys that aren't as tech savvy as we want to be.
Yeah.
We have iPhone footage, and he just took mercy on us. He's like, "Okay, I'll help you out a little bit."
Yeah, I'll do it.
And to find a guy that actually rides
Yeah,
and can
that's-
film while he's riding, and to have the mindset, he's fit right in from day one, and it's just been part of our team the whole time.
Well, it's like he edited our first video, and we remember we set the computer on the table, and we got everyone around. Watch this, check it out, our first one. And everyone was like, "Wow, that's great!" It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All iPhone.
I've been following since the beginning. I remember when the drones first came along.
Yeah.
When the cinematic shots started coming into it, I'm like, okay, they got some money behind this.
So we're filming.
Yeah.
And we're doing this stuff and giving them footage, and we're like, "Hey, why don't you come on this trip with us?" All right, cool. Comes on a trip, and it's like, all right, well, that's kind of cool because now
we have drones.
You get third person, you get drone.
And then it's like, okay, you're kind of going on all the trips with us. And he, like he said, he can ride, he can rip. We have no worry. It's like, he loves what he's doing. So like, how do you find that?
How are you enjoying being with these two old fucks all day long?
You know what's funny?
You're right.
It's so funny. That's
like
such a great question.
I mean, I don't hold back anything I would say ever.
He's 23.
There's certain things I wouldn't even say around my buddies I'd say around them. And it's.
And then you're full bearded out at 23. Are you balding up here yet?
No, he's thick hair.
Oh, he's full, dude. This is an anomaly, man.
But I've told him. I've told him this before. He reminds me of my son because as from a young age, he could hang out with his age.
Yeah.
He can hang out with older guys all the time, and that's what he can do.
An old soul.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
So he fits right in.
He's got a library that he's creating of all of our Galenisms and Lanceisms. We bust him up on a daily basis.
I mean, he's seen us argue.
Like a sock on a chicken's lip.
And
that
he's,
kind of stuff.
He's been in the middle of arguments. Like, it's always usually just creative stuff. Let's do this route. Let's do that. And but we always get.
He likes
through
to
it.
hide things behind our back.
He thinks that. Yeah, right.
So
they made a gift.
Most days, if I got the camera out,
we made gifts
doing
and
roller
didn't tell him.
shots. I'll get some really sick shots of him one day. Not enough of him. So I'll pay you $200 tomorrow, but you only got to take pictures of me. So the second day he says $300. That's like an ongoing thing.
I mean, we're on the helmet on the Lexin mics. Lexin brought to you by Chase.
But the cool thing is, though,
Link in the bio.
he could film. He could film.
Yeah.
He edits. He puts our videos together. Galen and him work together. He writes the vlogs that are on, the blogs that are on our website. So he can write, he can edit, he can film, and the three of us tie right in. And we went from 2 iPhones to now him and I are fumbling around with 2 or 3 GoPros. He's got a GoPro. We got the camera. We got the drone.
But he also, more importantly than that, he understands us.
Yes.
And so when we first started writing the blogs and different things, we were fully editing. We wanted to see now. He's the guy behind all of our creativity. We call him our marketing manager or director. He's like got a big position. And
but I said,
this was that 401k like, man?
1099, baby, 1099.
I say this though. I always tease him. I say, hey, if we ever do credits at the end, you have to say that Galen and I film too, because we do.
But it's gelled really well together. He is us, and it's. We're lucky that we found him.
Well, that's another thing about it. I want to talk to you more about that stuff too. But like, just while I'm thinking about it, because you talked about sometimes the annoyances that you'll have with each other on trips.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that our group does pretty well because there's so many of us that go on. Well, that's usually about 6 of us is usually about our trip, right? So it's easy for one of us to back out whenever we start getting to be at an annoyed point with the other guys, and we can kind of. I usually go take a bubble bath. I'm just like, y'all go party tonight.
Mr.
I'm gonna
Bubble?
stay in the hotel and just pamper myself and have a good time. But you have that chance to get away a little bit and just kind of like regather your thoughts and not stay in the moment of being annoyed. Because it's usually not my friends that are annoying me. It's just like this year at Tennessee.
Or at home shit.
Yeah, well, we were coming through Tennessee right after the George Floyd thing, right? And so there was all this shit going on. Like, we're in fucking Maggie Valley, and it's like super, like, they're trying to tear down statues. Come on, bikers, come help us. And I'm just here to ride bikes. Like, I'm not trying to get political on any of this shit.
Right.
And then we jump over the Smokies to the other side in Tennessee, Johnson City, and there's like black protests going into bars, and I'm like, man, the vibe is off here, and it's putting me off bad. I just want to chill in the hotel room tonight,
Yeah.
Well, we have 10 or 12 guys that go to Sturgis, and we have 5 years of going together. And we always say it's amazing how we all can go and the's never an issue. If someone says, let's go here, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
You know,
Our small groups, like those main trips that he's talking about, it works perfect. Like we all get along. Nobody. You get every once in a while. You get whatever. Maybe somebody annoys you or something over stupid.
Someone's doing something that's starting to piss you off.
Right. But
We're gonna hit him with soap socks later on.
all in all, it works out great. Now our Sturgis trip this year, how many people we have?
At some points, we had over 15 people riding with us.
Whew,
yeah.
that's a task.
Yeah, we
That's
lost
a
one.
task. Yeah, we lost one for 2 days.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that's.
Well, how do you lose one?
Took a left turn when you took a right?
He said he was on the podcast last night with us, the one we did for Patreon, and he's like, "Man, I was because we were in Red Lodge, you were about to do Beartooth Pass, and he said, I'm nervous about going into Beartooth because of the height and this, that, and the other." And he had took a spill at the Talamina Parkway at our Campout. And so this was the first time he got his bike back from being rebuilt. And now all of a sudden he's at one of the highest passes in America. Right. And so he was freaking out. And then once he got over it, he saw the elevation sign and he was at the back of the pack. He just decided to stop and take a picture with it. Little did he know that there was one of those like one lane things where you sit in a line until these cars go and then you go, and it's like a 30-minute exchange.
Yeah, right. They're working on the roads.
We ended up only sitting there like 2 minutes, and then we all went. He wasn't with our group yet.
Gotcha.
And we couldn't tell because there's so many fucking people back there. We're just like, okay, whatever. And then there's no service in Yellowstone.
Right.
So he ended up taking a left. We went into Yellowstone. He ended up going to Cody, Wyoming because he got passed.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, we all gel so good that it's like we always have a good time.
Yeah. So part of it is like between us two though, like we're not with that pack of people every day, every month. We're with them a few times a year, and we have a good time. But look, we're buddies and we're friends for life.
How long have we known each other?
30 years.
So
32 years. But at the same time, how do you start a business with your friend?
Yeah.
And we said this, and I think we said it in the original podcast. If it becomes work and it's going to create divisiveness between our friendship, we got to kill it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and he knows it, and I know, we've talked about it. It's like we're doing it because we enjoy it. So let's never let it, whether it's how to sell a part or how to
work.
Yeah, just keep it fun. And don't get mad at each other. Like if he has a great idea or I have a great idea and we want to talk about it, we're mad. Don't get mad. We don't need to. Let's just talk about it.
But let's be real, though, too. We got in a fight at the Big Texan.
I heard about that. I watched the video.
Right?
He had a bloody nose and
right? It was like I don't.
Did you take your steak, bro?
So the next morning, right? I took a raw steak and put on my. The next morning, we're sitting at breakfast before this guy comes out of his room, and it's a vibe, and we're like, okay, let's talk about the vibe. Let's get it out on the table. Yeah. What's up? And we got it out on the table, and the rest of the trip was great.
And he said it during the middle of the day, boy, am I glad we're on this because this is great. But it's like,
I also said in the morning, I'm leaving, I'm going home.
Right? Yeah, and I grabbed his arm, and I said, think about this. Why are we pissed?
You can't quit me.
No, why are you pissed? Why are we?
I'll never quit
you. You complete me, baby.
But it's like, why are we pissed? Yeah. Some stupid little creative thing and we're pissed. We can't be pissed.
Yeah.
Just talk about it.
And there's something to be said about having 500 miles in front of you and waking up with kind of some weird energy. You're cruising down, I look over and someone's just looking whatever versus everyone's in a good mood and I look over and we're pointing at something on the bag. Like, what? And you look up and you're flipping, just funny shit on the road. Then every single mile's a good time. I don't care if I have to piss. I don't care if I'm almost out of gas. We're cruising until the wheels fall
got
off.
you today.
It's always good. You did.
So do this to your friends when you're riding next time. Go like this, ride up next to them, point to it.
At something
and when
on
they
their
look
bike.
at their bike and look at you like, then you flip them off. And then you go point at them and go, get to the back of the line.
So we were
We
were coming out of Carlsbad Caverns yesterday, and I just installed those hard bags, still getting used to them. I hit a speed bump pretty hard, and the bag with my nice camera, my drone, my GoPro, my mics, my hard drives with months of footage pops open. So Galen slams on the brakes, looks, I eventually find out what's up. So the whole trip after that, I've been just checking.
Yeah, I do that
So
every
we're going on
once
a
in while.
windy.
Reach back and check, make sure they're locked.
We're going on a windy stretch. I think it was today.
Yeah.
And he's pointing at me like this, and I'm like, "Fuck!" I turn around. I look, and as soon as I turn around, he just. And I'm like, and that it lightens the mood.
Yeah,
It makes the day easy. You know.
We started at this last camp out, the down south one. They were doing donations for beer, right? So basically, like, if you got to go get beer, you're gonna give them $5 and you're gonna bring everybody a beer back, right? And so we got to a point where we were so drunk where we would just yell out, "Prospect!" and whoever looked, go get us beer.
That's funny.
And so it was funny because our buddy Justin, he owns this company, My Machinist, or his Instagram, My Machinist. We got him, and he knew it. He caught on, so he turned his head and looked, but he was already committed to turning his head, so he closed his eyes. And he wouldn't look at it. He's like, "I'm not looking at you. You can't get at me like that."
Well, he got me with the flip off. He pointed at my shoe and did the flip, and I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even see that." So then I'm riding about an hour later, and I'm like, "He's fucking fumbling with his phone. He's having an issue right now. It's perfect."
Yeah.
So I got next to him, and I'm going, and he's like, he's looking at me, and he looks back, and I go,
The problem is you have to look at all those.
Right. But
Yeah,
You
you
can't.
have to.
What if you were really pointing at it? You're crying wolf.
I
Right?
know.
we're basically screwed
You're
now.
losing
You're
your
like-
wheel bearing, and people are going,
We'll go like this. And I'm not looking. No way.
coming out. You're like, I'm not looking at that. But the trick is you got to send them to the back after.
that's
You
Like
gotta-
you're a
I like
rookie.
that.
Get out of here.
I like
Get
that.
back.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Actually, you may see that on this vlog that we did because you caught some of that.
I did catch some of that.
During that whole Wyoming deal, when Cole and Lance got a ticket, it was them two, me right behind, and then there was a big pack. So I'm sitting there, we're cruising at 100, having a great time, and I'm watching them doing that the whole time, flipping them off. They'd pass each other by a foot. I am number one, back and forth, and as we're doing that, that's when we saw a cop, and it was just.
So that came from they've been racing dirt bikes since they
Yeah.
were 4 years old.
Yeah.
So we actually had fun watching them fuck with each other the whole ride.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know,
yeah.
brake checking and just, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's, there's the great thing that you always do. And our first trip to Sturgis, little Lance rolls up on me and turns my ignition off. I'm like, okay, so this is how we're going to play this.
That's
I had a
just so
cousin
annoying.
do that. Like, I had a cousin that I ride with, and he, we'll get up to a red light or something, and we'll be sitting beside each other.
Yeah.
Just reach up, right when the light turned green, and reach over there and slap the ignition. I'm like,
So we're cruising through the city.
So what happened today? Yeah, you tell them. You tell them.
I turned his emergency lights on.
Oh, you
And he
did?
didn't know what
"Is it
the,
today?
Yeah, so
When he's coming back?"
that was
I
when the
seen
cop-
it. I was like,
Yeah.
"Why's he got his tags on us?"
That's when that cop was behind us too. We're cruising, he goes for it, dude. And I've got plenty of times with the kill switch. So I'm like, all right, my bike's still running, I'm good. And I still got the dash, not on the bars.
yeah.
And he's yelling at me. I can't hear shit. My music is playing. Your hazards are on, man. And,
I was laughing.
I mean,
my
they were
ass
having
off.
so much fun. All of a sudden, Lance and Cole would come by, and they'd be fully side saddle on their bikes, no hands, just feet on this side, riding by at 100 miles an hour. You know.
So so like you guys did the Route 66 and you got that part of Texas, but now you've pretty much hung out on the butt cheeks of Texas so far, which is West Texas. How'd you feel about, other than the wind? Like, what'd you like the terrain compared to all the other shit you've ridden through?
So it's really called the butt cheeks?
That's what it feels like. I'm thinking like, where's
Gotcha.
the good part of the crotch area?
No.
It's 35, and so everything else behind it is just the ass.
Well, like doing Route 66, we've been to a lot of different places. For me, New Mexico and some of Texas were like, eh. And then when I got into Oklahoma, it was like, ooh. And then Missouri was like, whoa, that's kind of different, you know? And
Yeah.
so, but I've been in places in Texas, like Austin, where there's like the big river and lake and you swim and there's rock thing, you know? So I know there's stuff to see, but it's so big and vast. It's like Bakersfield for 10 hours, you know?
Good analogy. That's a really good analogy.
I mean, I believe we probably chose the right time of year to come.
True. Yeah,
You
you're getting
know,
lucky right now.
We've dealt with wind. The wind today was weird. Had a little different downforce on the helmet, which made also feel like the bike was going to wash a little differently. But I think, you know, when you think about Texas, at least I think about it, it's plains, you know, cotton fields and farming. And it was interesting to me today because we saw a lot of that, and that's where most of the wind was, right? And
break
There's
it
no
up.
trees to
right, there's nothing out there. And I have family that were farmers up in Idaho, and I was looking at these round yellow bales last night, right? And I'm going, what the hell is that? And I realized they're cotton bales. But they're rolled in round, you know. So it was interesting to see the agriculture and all that. Yeah. It was yellow plastic.
Oh, it was yellow plastic.
Yeah, with the white inside.
Yeah.
But coming through, even down into Fort Worth and Weatherford, I was thoroughly blown away that there's some topography and changes and elevation and trees.
So, my listeners are going to hate me for saying this, but 35 we're on a tectonic plate right here. Right, so it's a fault line. That's what it is. So basically, 35 runs on a fault line all the way from like north of Oklahoma City. These beers are starting to get a little slurring me out.
Oklahoma City. That's my hometown.
Yeah. So Oklahoma City all the way down 35 through Austin, San Antonio is a fault line that kind of is like waves close to 35 and off of it. And that's also, like I was telling you guys earlier, the cusp of where the tall trees stop,
right,
and the shorter trees into the desert begins.
There, you're saying the green.
Yeah. So, like when you're coming into Fort Worth, like you got like leaving Abilene, you got a little bit of hills. You get a couple of little what do you call them? Like plateaus, maybe you come down on, and then like right where you're coming into Fort Worth, it looks like damn, this place got some terrain, and then it flattens out,
right,
like completely, and then. When you hit Dallas, then you hit that escarpment again, and you're back in like there. Once you pass Dallas, it's flat as hell for a long time, right? But Dallas is higher in elevation than Fort Worth is.
Well, the tectonic plate makes sense to me because you can see that there's flat plateaus and some valleys, and I was like kind of blown away that it was that way. I've been in Oklahoma a little bit, right, and that was just there's no mountains, there's hills. Right? These seem like at least there was some elevation to them.
Yeah. So like tomorrow when we leave and we do that ride to a local coyote, when we leave here, not even 5 miles out, we'll go down that deal back down. So the way we came in today, you don't feel it because the terrain's so graded out for all the Irving, all that is so graded out because there's so many houses being built there and they've kind of flattened out the land for the most part. We're talking about maybe 400 or 500 like feet difference,
not thousands, but
not thousands.
But what the hell is that road you guys got up towards Lubbock, and what the hell was the name of that stuff that's on the way the road is?
Slotted grooved.
What the hell
highway,
is that stuff?
It was you're just in it going.
But they've done it on purpose.
Yeah,
on the actual road.
On the actual asphalt.
They're probably getting
just on the right.
No, it's through both lanes, but
they actually have signs
saying, and motorcycle guys
grooved highway.
So they're probably getting ready to repave. They're going to repave it.
No, it didn't look like that.
No, it was.
Usually they do that.
Usually they
really
grade it first, or like
they put a sign up that's a.
But they're probably getting ready to repave.
And it followed the lane, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was maybe watershed or something.
Oh, you talking about on the shoulder?
No,
on the lane.
On the lanes. I'm like, what kind of free highways are these guys riding on out here?
Maybe it was getting ready to.
They're probably
didn't look construction.
It didn't seem like it was. Seemed like it was.
Have you guys ever been in Sonora, California?
Yeah, I've been there.
Up on the 4 and those places, up in the high country, over Reno.
Oh yeah. Reno.
Isn't that great up through there?
I love Reno.
We stayed in Reno after that picture.
Oh, cool.
We rode to Reno.
So our buddy TPJ Brian, he lives in Reno, and he took us to the spot he smokes weed at in the mountains, the Angel Mountain, I think is what
Mount
it's called.
Rose.
Mount Rose, that's right.
Mount Rose, Rosebud.
Yeah. So
there you go.
he like not even fucking 5 miles from his house, we were sitting on top of a mountain. There were people hang gliding off of it, and he's packing a bowl for, smoking some weed. And I'm like, you're looking Virginia City and all that shit, like the whole valley right there.
Carson City in the distance.
Yeah, Carson City, all that.
His first bike trip for 1,000 miles with us, he was on a Yamaha what?
It was a FZ07. I think I just bought my first Harley 86 FXR, and I was just having issues.
Yeah.
So I took the Yamaha.
Oh,
My trunk fits about fixer,
You
but
took the fixer?
yeah.
So-
My trunk has the capacity to fit about a wallet.
Yeah.
So I got a camera around my neck, I got a GoPro on my chest, and he's carrying all my shit. But
Well, we went to Virginia City. We did all that stuff, and then we got in the high country going over the pass, and it
Kit
started
Carson.
snowing and raining.
Kit Carson Pass.
And
Is that the 88?
we had to peel his,
Sure.
and he didn't have his rain pants
There's
on.
further south.
So his
any
break-in
reindeer.
trip was
No
a
reindeer.
frozen tundra ride. But I will say this: we all experienced something on South Lake Tahoe that it's called a rare flat rainbow.
it
So
looked
we
like
come around the corner. There's clouds. It's kind of windy. You got the green trees, the blue lake, and snow on the mountains. And the sun hit the clouds, and it just boom. There was this rainbow across the lake. And we have our GoPros out, and we're filming
But
it.
flat, not a rainbow.
Really?
Yeah.
It was like Aurora
It's a flat
Borealis.
bow.
And we're
It was nuts.
and
Have
we're
y'all
like
ever- have y'all
freaking
ever
out.
stayed in Tahoe and partied?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I've had some fucking
Stayed in
fun.
Truckee, stayed in Tahoe too. I will say this, at this point I've been on so many rides and seen so much stuff, but that was my first like what the fuck moment where
Yeah.
we turned this corner. I'm sitting there on my bike like I'm here. This is what I do, and
Yeah.
this is just phenomenal.
No, I mean, we were like, we pulled over and we're like, what did we just see? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell was that? It was amazing.
That's weird.
Like on this last trip I did to Florida, like probably attest to you, like I got all my camera shit hoping to get into doing vlogs, but it really just doubled down on my love for photography. So I've been pushing that narrative more because I don't really like speaking in front of a camera. It freaks me out, man.
I'm used to being on
It really
the set,
does. This doesn't bother me
You're doing
because I'm
great
not
with this.
looking at a camera. If I had to do this all day, so here's the thing, guys. I got my buddy Cody here. He's having a good time. You know what I mean? It's just different. But
And you're talking to yourself when you're
that's the hard part.
That
Dude,
doesn't do it justice, but
Oh, I see it. That's fucking badass.
in real life, it was like,
I love Tahoe.
What I do, I find myself doing this a lot. Like you'll be riding next to your buddy or whatever, and you're riding, and then you just look over and like the trees are passing at the right blur for your eyes, and the bike is just it's kind of frozen in that moment.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a badass shot. And then I start thinking, I make a movie every time I ride.
so do we.
Right? I mean, you guys are actually doing it. I'm just like, spank banking it in my head, right? So it's like,
No, we do that all the time where he'll be like, would you see that? Or, hey, what about, do you see this? Or,
Shit.
So we're seeing what you're seeing.
yeah. Well, that's what I think makes like these type, like the type of riding that you do and we do. I think that's what makes like what you guys are doing, and I'm just dreaming about it. But you see these things, you're riding next to each other, you see that shot, you're like, this is, and you kind of, to me, I feel like it's like an ego killer because I'm not thinking about how cool I look anymore. I'm like, my dude right there is fucking killing it right
It's
now. He
humbling.
looks
It's
badass.
humbling. It is.
And I'm like, I just want to capture that for him. I wanted him to know how badass he looks going down the highway right now.
Right.
Because he can never see that angle. of
Right.
him.
Right.
He'll never understand what he looks like to me in that angle behind him, whatever the case may be. Or I love that shit. I nerd out on it, man.
But that's why also we like having him on the trip, because if it's just, and we did it often and we'll do it again, but it's just us filming each other.
And
Like it
there's-
gets,
You need
like,
different.
we need
vibe.
different angles and perspectives and
Yeah.
views
Or
and
then when you can get like or when you can get like two bikes riding beside each other.
Right.
That shit look it just.
But he-
our buddy James, he made a good GoPro. He made a good video of our Sturgis trip, but probably to attest to your creative differences, my creative differences come in. He likes to shoot a lot of time lapse,
right,
and time lapse is a very shitty video quality.
Right.
And then he likes to shoot everything wide. So if you're not up on that ass,
Yeah, you gotta be like super
Right.
so
close,
we were
you know.
going through that pass on the way to Salt Lake City before that picture, and he was in front of us. He had the GoPro back snapped on the back of his thing, and then we rode up to him. We fucking fist bumped each other.
Yeah.
But
Missed it.
it was badass. But it was also like he did it in like a
The
wide
Right.
frame, and it was a time lapse.
It felt like we was on his ass.
Dude,
when
we were on
did
it.
it, but it looked so far away because it was
And
such
it's
a
like-
wide view.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't like big enough so you could blow it up. It
Right.
wasn't like a high quality image, right? But he did a great job like capturing our trip to the point where, as gay as this sounds, I'm not supposed to say gay on YouTube. Like I watched that video and I was like, almost like, oh man, that was,
Emotional.
dude, it fucking fit. Like I was like, dude, he
You lived
captured it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You know?
that's the only thing that got me into cameras. I went to school for business. I got a business degree. I have zero formal training with cameras, but being able to look back on something after you have a good time or bad time, doesn't matter, is what inspired me to start playing around with these things, you know?
Yeah.
Because you look, and even just a picture, I mean, there's something to be said about we ride all day long and I come home and they're passed out and I'm staying up till 4 a.m. like last night, and I pull up this picture that I took on here and I'm just, oh man, they're gonna be stoked tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That type
Well,
of
and
deal,
we have
you
to
know,
give him some of his props too. Like
Yeah.
we'll pass the GoPro back and forth where we can get some shots of him because he's on the trip, you know, and he needs to have some cool shots of himself as
We
well
actually need
that
him
he
on,
can share.
We need to film him on the trips now so people don't think it's just a bunch of old men riding.
We're getting that demographic back down to
Yeah, and we did have a comment about the time lapses.
Yeah.
We have people emailing us, which is awesome. Tips, you know,
Our
thank
comments
yous,
are
this
through
and
the
that.
roof.
And this one guy, I don't know if he has heard of the term time lapse or not, but he was saying, you guys got to stop doing that thing where you speed up the footage like it's a sped up tape. But, you know, I got
We don't do it that much.
Yeah,
though.
not too much, but I got the newer GoPro and you can do it in 4K and it looks good now.
Yeah,
but,
there's
you know.
there's a lot of like things that go into creating the for lack of a better term B-roll in these things, right? Because like a vlog, and trust me, dude, I just went full fucking balls deep in a new GoPro for this trip to the down south Campout, where I was going to start my vlog.
right.
Right? You know how much
We
I
talked
used
about
it?
that.
You know how much I used it? I didn't.
Zero.
I didn't use it at all because that anxiety of talking in front of a camera fucks me up every time.
But if you're
And-
in your helmet talking, you're not talking in front of a
But I
camera.
don't.
Well, just
You
picture-
guys do it right, okay? I've been very critical on this on my podcast. You guys do it right. I don't like moto vlogs where they're like, "Oh, look at us! I'm trying the new Saddleman seat on, and it's great. Oh, look at that guy! Look at that Buick LeSabre going by there. He almost hit me." Like, I don't like those vlogs. It feels like watching people unbox. Like, I feel like as an adult, I'm watching some other kid play with their toys. That's what
Right.
I feel like when I watch moto vlogs, and that's why I liked y'all's. Or it sucks now. I like y'all's. I like y'all's because it has this like conversation between the two while you're riding versus like you just filling up the air with like random nonsense because you're trying to talk on a vlog about your ride to fucking Pet Boys or some shit.
Right.
Y'all
Well,
have Pet Boys out there?
we
got
do. But I'll tell you, that's very conscious on our part
Yeah.
because, and not to be critical of others, but we see the vlogs and we don't have that same vibe, and we introduced speaking through the helmets in the vlogs about
Later.
10 vlogs ago, 12 vlogs ago, something like that.
Speaking
But
while riding.
I was very concerned too that we don't want to just be like riding and there's no content behind it.
That
you know?
fills the void for me though. It was
Right.
really great. Like I said, I've been binging every Wednesday. It seems like you
Yeah.
drop, right?
Yep.
So on Wednesdays you drop like these last Route 66 rides, and I'm like, you know, it's just it fills it in because you have
Yeah.
that B-roll footage, all this great drone shots, all these good like shots of you guys all riding and stuff. But then you have context, like you're giving us a little context
Right.
on this town, its importance to the Route 66,
Right.
what happened here, blah blah blah, and then you're chiming in with your input and your bounce. Like it's just it works.
Yeah,
you know
it
what I mean?
seems like it's working, and I was the first to be hypercritical of it because I didn't want to become one of those people that just I'm going down the road and there's
It's
no angles, there's
Forward
no
or back.
Yeah.
and it's a discussion with yourself, and it's like, and there's not many vlogs out there where there's a team.
Yeah.
Like it's usually an individual, or there's an individual that's
Well,
running a
it's-
group.
like when you come, I think that all attests to the fact of making money with
Yeah.
it, right? It's like I have a great group of guys that I think that if we can find a way to video the experiences that we have on the trip,
Right.
we would be the next Jersey Shore, dude.
Right.
Straight up.
Right.
But
We feel you.
But the thing is that like getting that off the ground takes an effort of 7 dudes to have the same doing what you guys are doing, us finding a way to get it made, and then we're looking at 2 or 3 years of making nothing for all this effort. And that gets hard to do amongst multiple people, right?
It's easy to quit.
It's so much easier to quit because you don't see the point of it. Like,
Right.
if your job is this all day, that's paying your bills. This is a hobby. Now your hobby's interfering with your family life,
Right.
your other business, because you have to keep doing it because it might be something later on. That's where it gets difficult. You know what I mean? But
Well, you're spot on. I mean, we had this whole discussion, and we said, look, we're going to invest some capital in this thing, and we're going to try to do it our way and what we think is the right way.
Yeah, your thing.
Right. And,
But we get comment. Go ahead. Sorry.
and so as it's evolved, it's actually, we never started this off to make a ton of money. In fact, we're not making money. We're flat, basically.
But we're paying for our trips.
We're paying for for
that's
our
good.
videographer and our marketing guy, and so it's coming,
Yeah.
but it's organic. It is not bought and paid for. Like
Yeah.
what we do is real. We're writers that write, and we try to bring our vibe to it. And if you like it, great. If you don't, it's okay.
Don't fucking watch it.
But we get comments.
Stop
We
that.
get comments. Yeah.
Watch everything.
We get comments from around the world.
Yeah.
All these countries. And basically what you just said, they'll be like, I really enjoy, now I have to watch every Wednesday because I love the way you guys film and I love the way the camaraderie and you talk. And like, we get more of that. And that makes us go, wow, that's cool. Like,
Inspiration for us to write.
But even if we screw around, and it's like joking around and whatever, and it's part of the trip.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that like our group, our dynamic, that would be our difference from like what you guys do and what we do. We do very similar shit.
Right.
Like,
Right.
we ride across the country with our buddies.
Right. Right.
Who invented that? You know what I mean?
Right.
apparently we did.
Godfathers. Kiss the ring.
Yeah.
But no,
Get on the ring,
I think
baby.
that what really, I think that the cameras for us need to be turned on the last gas stop before the destination.
Yeah.
And the first gas stop after we leave the destination in the morning, because I feel like, and then live them on all night, because I tell stories on this podcast about Rock Springs shutting down a bar, stopping a bar fight, but then kind of egging it on in the parking lot. Buying bottles of liquor from the bartender.
So you're saying catch all the raw shit all night.
I think that's the angle that we talk about so much on when we have podcasts
Yeah.
and we have our little things going on, that we don't portray, because the other thing that you guys could probably chime in on is like when you are at whatever, like I said, hanging out with you the next 2 nights basically, I guess, tonight and tomorrow night.
Something like that, yeah.
I'm gonna get to see how you guys do this thing, because
Right.
I don't get it. Like, I feel like every time I pull a camera out, everybody gets weird. I get weird. I'm like, all right, YouTube face, don't say fuck. Don't say fuck.
Well, I think for me personally, if you lead into it certain ways and you catch it raw, I mean, sometimes we'll say, hey, let's talk about this and this, and we just kind of go with the flow, and we usually one take wonders. But like if I get off the bike and Dom and Lance and Luke are standing there and they have no idea I'm coming up there, and I just might have myself, and I'm just like, hey, what do you guys think of this, blah, 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 and I'm talking, and then they just have to do something or walk away.
Yeah.
And you catch something.
Some
and
are
you might
natural,
catch
some
stuff.
aren't.
Yeah. You might catch stuff and just throw it away, or, oh, that was good.
Yeah. What is it like when you dump all that footage into a fucking timeline on the what are you doing, like a Premiere Pro or something like that?
Pro.
Do you want us to step out while he answers this question?
I mean, it's so
Like taking all, like how many GoPros are
so
you
we
using?
have, each of them have one GoPro handheld and one GoPro helmet.
Okay.
I'm gonna be going on 69 different tangents right now, but the issue is that the helmet ones are connected to the phone. So we're traveling through different states. When you're connected to the phone, the time updates for whichever GoPro is connected to the phone. So if I get lost, whether I'm on a trip with them or not, if I'm like, was this before that, you can get info on the file and see what time it was created. But if the time is off, then you have no idea. So with the handheld ones, his says like January 2016 on the handheld, but then whatever. So when we started with the phones, I was used to so different of a project that I named everything. So, Monument Valley. So then everything gets out of order. So I'm texting them back and forth. So it was really unorganized. Now, because we've done so many on a consistent basis, it's every night. You know, we only bring a couple sets of cards. Every night when we get back from the ride, I go, Galen handheld, Galen microphone helmet.
Day
and it's
one,
all
day
organized,
two.
Day two, this and that. So once I get to it, when we're editing videos,
It probably takes like an hour at least just to dump the cards.
Oh, yeah, more, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you get back, but that saves you time later. But it's still, I mean, there's sometimes I'm like, fuck, man, what was first? And yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of time. There's, with the conversation stuff, you know, some of those talker YouTube vloggers,
Yeah.
the person responding, you're hearing them through the center speaker of the person recording. But with these guys, they're both recording, so I listen to the whole conversation on one side, then the other side,
You have to
and
split
then I
them
match
together.
it. You go, you set an in point, out
I'm
point,
getting
and you go-
anxiety just listening.
But Galen and I will be talking on our headset, so
Yeah.
we know what we're saying.
Yeah.
He'll say blah blah blah, and I'll blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but there's
then
two
he-
different files, and
Yes,
it's
yes.
the same reason why like I bought all this program shit, so I didn't have to and put the audio together.
Yep.
You know what I
Right.
mean? That whole cut, like putting
Yeah.
the audio with the video. Otherwise, we can record the video, put it on a file, and then record the audio separately, and then try to match them up.
Yeah.
And then our mouse might not be perfect.
Right.
So,
Well, we have it. We had one little clip where him and I were talking, and he goes, "Lance, yours never recorded." But we had the ride, so we sat in the office. I put my helmet on. I had the GoPro.
Don't tell people that.
Oh, he's faking the fuck.
What are you
that was
telling
one,
people?
but just one. Just
damn
one.
it.
But
yeah,
even on-
but you got to do that sometimes.
But
though.
it was
That's-
fresh, and it
That's
was like-
Hollywood, man.
So then I'd sit there and watch Galen talk, and I'd say,
Yeah.
But we had to recreate it because it was too good not to.
But we had a conversation last night too. You know, we're still learning each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
with him. And so I think we can get to a point where if we can get his lexin suited up, that we can all mesh together.
Right.
Because we don't do that so much. It's just
Because
the
right
two
now,
of us.
it's hand signals. If I want to get a shot on this,
Right.
and they're behind me, I go like next to each other in the lane, get the shot.
Yeah.
Because I'm busting music, and luckily we've spent thousands and thousands of miles together.
Oh, yeah.
The riding body language is in sync,
Yeah,
and we
you
know
got it.
what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, so we have it set up. But if I could just click a button and be like, "Hey, you guys are going to go 60 and mob by," like the drone shots. We were coming out of the caverns yesterday, and I fly the drone. I said, "Hey, go around this corner." They stopped before it, so I stopped the drone before him, and I went boom, boom to try and get him to come that way.
Yeah, I did a thumbs up, and
Yeah.
and he nodded the drone, so I thought he saw my thumbs up, but he just actually nodded the drone, and
So
we went.
how much does the videoing, like the drone stuff, how much does that hinder the time frame of the trip?
So it's not much, and we've had a lot of conversations about this. Like, we have to find a balance between production value and making the trip not only seem but be realistic and get these miles down and everything as
Yeah.
if the average Joe would. So if I have friends that also do motorcycle stuff that's a little more not professional but higher production value.
Yeah.
And you stop and you might take an hour to get this one turn. We don't have time for that if we're trying to get to a destination.
No way.
You want to keep it as real
Yeah.
as possible.
I struggle with that, man.
For
Like
sure.
I have two GoPros over here. I have a 7 and a 9, and both of them I bought with the same intention to start a vlog. 7 came out 2.5 years ago.
Right.
The 9 was going to be the new vlog.
Right.
It didn't happen. So I bought the 7, and then I rode to Vegas and then California in February. It's 18. And hoping that on this trip I was going to do the vlog. I was going to like talk about it, but I didn't have a script. I know that you might not follow me on that. It's not about having a script, but
I follow.
I
you on it.
didn't have a thing to say. I didn't have anything to talk about. Look at the sunset. Dope. All right, let's go. Like it just felt.
But we've
bland.
been riding so long together that, you know, and we didn't have the headsets for years.
But you guys have this brand now, this 2-lane
Right.
life. Like you have a purpose now for all these trips. There's a purpose to talk about what you're doing.
And we had it before, so it's
Yeah.
right now it's natural to us because we'd get to a place for lunch or we'd get to the hotel in the evening and just sit and talk about the ride and the things that we both saw. And it was interesting because we were both seeing the same thing and we saw it a little differently, but we both dug what we saw. And so now we can kind of just do that, you know, as we roll.
I'm not good scripted at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
We've tried.
Like if they say,
Doesn't
Lance,
work.
say this, blah blah blah, and you went here, I'm like, don't say that. Just what's the subject? All right, let me just roll. You know what I mean?
So to finish that off, is,
Take 15.
right.
Right.
The only thing that really sets time out is the drone shot, and that's something that I think we all can agree on. That taking a little bit of extra time to get this epic shot is worth it. Aside from
that is like, you know, my buddy James, if he was here, he'd be nerding out with us too on this conversation. Those drone shots are like the fucking money shots, man, because they really, they give you a perspective that none of us have, right? But they give you that like movie feel. Like I feel like I'm watching Brian Bosworth and Stone Cold going down the highway with a fucking vest, his abs are hanging out. I'm not gay, but that's cool. And or you're watching Harley Davidson and Marlboro Man just ripping across the country. Like those kind of shots give you that vibe of like, I guess they're cool.
Well, there's a difference too. Like if you like the Route 66 trip.
Yeah.
We knew each day, let's get here in Texas or here in Oklahoma, so we could stop and screw around with the drone a little more because we knew we were going to continue on tomorrow.
The drone shot at the Cadillac Ranch was dope. Like, and
that was sick.
When you flew through the car.
So that was the first.
So I was trying to get you guys to stop. There, just on the other side of Amarillo, heading into Oklahoma, there's a VW ranch.
We
stopped there.
Did you stop?
The Bunny Ranch.
Okay.
Jack Rabbit Ranch.
Jack's
the cars
Rabbit
in the same.
Yeah.
So it's got Volkswagens, but
Yeah.
there's that gas station that's like vacant and the house next to it. Yeah,
They
I
actually
take a lot
have
of,
bunnies that do performance things there. Don't ask me what, but
that sounds sexual.
But
I would think
here's
so.
something interesting. Like we left to go on this trip,
Yeah.
and we went. All right, we're going to go from LA to Williams. Put the cameras in the saddlebag. We're just going to ride, and have fun, and we'll start our trip in Williams.
at the Grand
Yeah, but I
Canyon.
mean, you guys, that's kind of like your first stop. A lot of going east. You know what I mean? Like Williams, like as a guy that's been listening to your vlogs, Williams is a part of a lot of.
And we
them.
joke about that.
Yeah.
But when we go into the hotel or we go into the bar and they know us, hey Jackie, hug. Like
That's cool though.
Yeah.
I think that's badass.
We're
Like,
known there.
to have like your Cheers bar.
Here's
in
the guy.
another
Here
town.
they come again. You know.
Yeah.
Well, and to full circle it, like when we first started capturing all this footage, we would just give him cards full of. It was like we're filming
Shit show.
everything. You
Yeah,
know?
you have to figure out how to organize it because.
Well, not only organize it, like we have to be as filmers. Like you can't not capture a moment, but you can't just be all day long capturing nothing.
Yeah.
Because he's got to filter through that. So as we've gotten through this over the last 8 months, now you start to get smarter and better about your filming. You always have the GoPro so that you can capture something epic.
30-second burst.
But how do we now start to organize it mentally and when we do the filming so that it doesn't just overwhelm him at night?
Yeah. See, that's the thing, man. Like I said, I've equated to all this equipment I've been buying, all these cameras, all this lighting, drones, gimbals, all this shit as like, I always say it's the same thing as like the guy that plays golf for the first time and then invests in lessons, shoes, clubs, all this.
Right.
Like I'm not getting better at doing videos, but
You're sure collecting a lot of
I'm
equipment.
collecting all the shit that should show that I'm a good video editor in hopes that if I ever become a good video editor, I have everything I need. You know what I mean?
Well, it's definitely work.
It's easier to fucking buy things than to learn things.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You know, and we go on these we'll take our wives on a couple trips here and there, and then you get people that say, it was so great to see because I could show my wife, and now she wants to go for a ride, and it's like the inspiration in different areas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
There's, the weird thing about Harley guys and I guess our age group, or I say our group, you're like fucking young as shit.
You're right.
Like I'm like in between y'all. But just this younger generation, right? I grew up, these Easy Riders that I have over here, I think, they're over there. I just saw dudes picking, there we go, another sixer.
This is a Montucky moment brought to you by Cody.
It's a local charity.
What you got over there, Jace?
So,
Oh, Easy Rider? What do you got?
hold on.
Come on now.
He's looking.
He's looking.
That one has cover on. All right. So I went and ordered on eBay my birth month and year
Oh, nice.
No way.
Easy Rider. So you want to see the centerfold for that year?
Yeah.
She's got a book. push for sure.
What's cool about the old school Easy Rider things is they weren't centerfolds; they were David Mann paintings.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So that like it feels special to have a 1982 September David Mann painting.
82.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah,
young.
you are a kid.
Jesus.
God damn.
I was still in high school when you were born.
But
96.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
he's 95, right?
Yeah.
95.
So
I don't want to tell you guys when I was born. Ready?
what was the Cold War like?
1960.
Ain't bad.
So finish your Easy Rider.
So one thing I've heard a lot of times when I've gone to different biker events and I've brought like this whole Campout vibe, I hear these old leathered out dudes. You don't know where the leather jacket stops and their leather skin starts.
Starts, yeah.
Starting
right.
stops.
You get where I'm going with that.
Yes.
We're following.
And they always fucking salute us, going, "Thank you for keeping this camping, this roughneck shit alive." Because those older dudes really look at like this newer age of biker and they're like, man, these guys are not. They don't know what it's like to get in the dirt and get dirty and
Right.
and throw a campfire up and drink beer and flash their old lady's titties and things like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's
No, I don't know what you mean.
Well, I think
it's kind of like what y'all were doing with the like pointing and finger,
yeah.
but it's like you
Just
pull your
good
old lady's
times.
boobs out or some shit.
And I think part of that goes kind of along the lines of what you said about the camera stuff. Buying the nice cameras to try and do this. I think some of what's going on, and part of the culture now, is people will spend all these money on these bikes and not enjoy what it's really about.
Yeah.
You know?
Whether you're camping or, and I'm a little bit worried about the future. You know, not tomorrow, but down the road. I mean, what is this
I was
new
worried.
group? What are they are they going to actually get out and ride?
So I was worried, right?
Yeah.
Because we always get worried when you hear like press releases, maybe not from Harley, but from like Bloomberg or whatever, saying that Harley and motorcycles in general are losing the younger generation,
Yeah.
right? But then you see all this I see all these young dudes doing wheelies and partying and doing their own version of biker shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they'll probably do wheelies and maybe they become a sea bear or something like that and that's their career. Or maybe they just rip wheelies for a couple of years and then they love bikes, so they're just fucking riding and doing what we do.
Yeah.
I think that riding and stunning are two very different things, but one anybody can do, and one you're gonna fuck up your bike, you're gonna fuck yourself up.
Right.
You're gonna, you'll probably get a couple more likes on Instagram, but there's another place over here where you can have all this amazing experience. And
But the cool thing, and it's exactly what you're saying. Lance can do wheelies and burnouts, but he likes the trip, and he likes going with the older guys
Yeah.
and the young guys. So we have young and old guys going on these trips, and it's like, for him at Trashin, it's like, I want to show people that there's an adventure out there,
Yeah.
more than just going to the bar over here. He's got to ride,
Yeah.
and that's what you're saying, right?
But
now.
my hope is the 25-year-old and younger kid now still does that later in life.
I think they will.
Because there's a different game out there with the youth today, and it's an interesting game to see. Like, there's such a focus on electronics and technology, and you get out and explore and go let the wind run through
It's
your
also
hair.
like a time and expectations kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like what's put upon people in our generation as opposed to what might have been back in the day.
Right.
Because a lot of, I've done plenty of trips, I've kind of put my feet in the water or whatever. But when I try to talk people that are my friends, that are in my circle of
Right.
age and shit, it's like, oh man, if I don't fucking go to work, man, I can't afford to do this. I don't have any personal time off. I
Right,
can't.
exactly.
Money issue at
Right.
that point.
Yeah.
Especially when you're younger.
Yeah, right.
But look at the room here. We do have a diverse age.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of on what we're talking about,
Yeah.
I think as long as
32.
60,
there's still
54.
stuff like our camp out,
Yeah.
when it's just far enough to where it's like taste of a trip, and then you stay somewhere and you camp out for a weekend, so it's a trip, for like new people.
Yeah.
As long as there's something like that, I think that will hook people, and they will be willing to take sacrifices and take time to go do more and longer trips as they grow older or have more opportunities to do so.
Right.
And I hope that happens.
Yeah,
Because
totally think it will.
it's a whole different life out there, as we all know. There's a freedom that no one gets. It's like when you have a child, you can't tell people how much you love a child until they have a child, because they don't.
Yeah.
You love your wife or your spouse or your significant other, but once you have a child, it's like, wow.
Last night we were, Cody and our buddy Dragon. You'll meet him one day.
Yeah.
He might be here. He's supposed to be here tomorrow. Be ready for Dragon.
Wow.
So Dragon was in here.
I'm so glad he's got that name now.
Yeah, I love it. Jaden.
He got it tattooed on his chest in Sturgis.
So he's Dragon from now on.
Sturgis
Yeah.
2020.
So we were talking about the whole kid thing, because I'm kind of selfish in the sense that I had kids early, right?
Yeah.
I had, my daughter is 18 going on 19. She's out of school. She's doing her thing. I got a son that, he's 10. I'm 38. And I'm not with his mom, so I have that. I guess you could say it's freedom from not being there every day to have to deal with that. I wish I could have been there. Don't get me wrong, but shit didn't work out. But there are a lot of guys that haven't had kids yet, like Cody and my buddy Dragon.
Yeah.
Who wants to have a fucking dad named Dragon, right?
Right.
So I feel like a lot of people are getting to the point where, like, man, like, I get out of high school and I've already got this checklist of shit I want to do in my life.
Right.
When does all this other shit come into play versus when you're in your 20s, man, like, maybe you're lucky like him and you have a skill that is like, you get to do this shit. It all fucking works out. But I mean, this dude could be working at fucking Staples for all we know. Y'all have Staples out there?
Yeah.
All right. So
we have Staples. This is a plug for Staples.
Yeah.
And check the link.
I mean, for all we know, he could be working at Staples, just following all this shit on Instagram and wishing, he could be a part of it. Like, you said something great. Like, he does the video shit and he rides. You know how fucking bad. We don't have those dudes out here.
You know how many
people, like, as somebody that loves photography and videography, you know what the one thing I realize most of these kids that do this nowadays don't have? Content.
Yeah.
They have no idea what to shoot. They're out there fucking videoing roses slow motion and putting, like, emo music behind it and shit. You know what I mean?
Some TikTok shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I can attest to that. Like I was saying, I got a call from Rob about this to start 2 weeks after I was walking again after an injury. Mm-hmm. And that was right before graduating, right as I was applying to jobs that I knew I didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to work at a desk. I didn't want to work at some internship making shit money to not even learn a valuable skill. Yeah. And building this with them, doing web stuff, doing videos, seeing how they operate on the financial side of things and all that. I'm learning 100 times more than I would doing any sort of entry-level job. It's like an apprenticeship,
but you're still providing a
quality and I'm having, I mean,
yeah, dude,
you can't beat.
Oh my God, he's riding across country.
Yeah,
woe is me.
Well, I told him yesterday. I'm like, so last year at this time there was no COVID. You were in class in college. Could you imagine being in Hobbs, New Mexico?
Right.
And he's like, no.
Hobbs, yeah.
I was riding around a
fucking
e-scooter.
Yeah, they had a cool sign. Their sign was cool.
Yeah, the sign was cool.
All you had to do was like take a right a couple miles before that. You would have hit 20 a lot earlier, and you'd been.
We were told not to take 20.
Yeah, don't listen to them.
You were told.
They're nerds.
Yep.
I got vegan. I have a small bladder.
Oh my God.
Oh my! As he sits in front of three tall boys in a pickle beer.
2 pickles.
Let's give another plug out to that's nicotine gum. I don't think you want that.
I want that.
Out to Best Made Sour Pickle Beer. It's
That's a
liquid
local one
pickle
here in
again.
Fort Worth.
It's a real good.
You can see that at twolanelife.com for all your
Start selling
needs.
6-packs of Montuckies and pickle beer.
Montuckies.
We do have some incredible bundles up. You want to talk about those, Lance?
Let's stay away from the shameless plugs.
Well, we're on commercial time. Montucky has great bundles.
But I will say, this is a very solid setup. We got the cameras going. We got our, I don't know who watches Rogan, but we got our young Jamie over here.
Young Jesse.
Young Jesse.
Wait,
There
how
we
old
go.
are you?
25.
So you guys are close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close.
But it's cool to see, and seeing all the places that common interests can take you are really rad.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
we're riding.
It's so weird. We
through-
ride so much that, like a lot of our local Southern California, like, hey, let's just go to Neptune's Net. You know, it's like
Right.
45 minutes away.
Right.
When people say that, I'm like, I don't need to.
I don't get the interest in riding local no more neither.
Yeah, I gotta
Well,
go.
And we talk about it all the time. Like, dude, I don't want to ride the bar tonight. I want to ride to California
I mean,
or North Carolina.
we've
or-
done-
or, you
yeah.
know, something crazy. You know.
We've done one day 300-mile loops and through up the San Joaquin through the Sierra Nevada in the snow, been redwood trees and back home.
Yeah.
You know,
You know, talking about this whole motorcycle scene and that, we actually did a podcast with the Four for the Road.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the extent that they're going to on the MC side, and it was interesting to have a conversation with them, saying that we were a bit of an inspiration to them.
Oh, punk rock, yeah.
look
You
at
know, yeah,
Yeah.
and to hear kind of the process, like you were saying earlier, the check-in and and the protocol that you have to go through, which we totally respect, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, but for them to come out and say, hey, we're looking at your vibe and what you guys are doing, and you'll just take off and go. And we can't do that. And, and
So
that was big when they said that, though. When they said that, I
that
was
was
like,
amazing.
wow, they're envious.
So
We can go.
You said that?
No.
No, those dudes. So good friends, great guys. I love their podcast. I actually listen to that quite a bit. There's a lot of history you can find in club history. They, those dudes put together a good show, with like content about the club world. Now, I was never a 1%er when I did my bike club days. But as an MC, which is below that, you start to understand what the 1% clubs have to deal with, and a lot of MC clubs have to deal with traveling.
Right.
And it gets to the point where it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to downgrade clubs. You know what I mean? But, like, I told those dudes, I would love to have you guys on our podcast, but I want them here, and I want to debate.
Right.
I want to debate, like, are clubs relevant anymore?
Right.
I feel like they are. Like, I love the history. I love what they represent, but I don't know if it fits anymore.
Right.
Like you're literally hindering people from enjoying motorcycling based on like beef that was started in the 80s by people who are probably not in the club anymore.
Right.
And when I was in the club, like there's parts of the club world that I loved and I saw why that fit. You know what I mean? Like when I was single, it was great. I got laid a lot. I did. We partied every fucking night, and different bars, different clubs. You have a patch on, you got a whole bunch of boys. Like it felt good to be like in a club and feel like like forced friendship is what it feels like. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
See, I can never, like, even you see guys, and this is way not even close to what you're saying, but the hog members.
Yeah.
And they're stoked.
Oh, the brothers, yeah.
And they got their vests and
Hell
the
yeah,
hog
brother.
patches, and
We're
they go ride
100,000
together.
mile patch.
We like hog. We're plugging hog.
Yeah, that's your fucking listener group.
But for me,
Lance
it's like
is,
20
he's
guys
taking a
together riding.
Left turn here.
I don't want to downgrade it because I think that they play a role in motorcycle culture. They obviously have in the past,
Right.
and they will in the future.
Right.
But I do debate the fact of due to social media, we're able to find, for lack of a better term, brothers
Right.
nationwide
Right.
that fit the narrative of who we are,
Worldwide.
rather than like going and joining your local club that like might, like. It might be dope, like to be a booze fighter, like that would mean something to me. Like to be a booze fighter, or hate to say it, a Hell's Angel. There's a stature behind that name that means something. Like, man, like there's these people that did this stuff historically, right? But then you got all these other clubs across the country, these outlaws, these banditos, these that are all equally as badass, but they weren't on TV. They didn't have like Hunter S. Thompson following them around for a couple of months, like writing books about them and shit. Like there's something about HA. There's something about Booze Fighters being the first real club. And
They're the
that,
oldest, aren't they?
Yeah, there's something about that is inspiring. Like if I was going to be a part of something, I would want to be a part of that. But then you have to hope that these people, like, fuck the name, fuck the patch. Are these dudes real dudes? Are these dudes like you two, like me and my boys? And that's what I've, in my club, that's when my club was my opening to my eye opener to finding the friends that I have now. I love those guys I was in a club with, but that word brother started getting thrown around so quickly. And I'm like, we had to get numbers up. That's why you're here. You know what I mean?
Right.
As opposed to like, we vet people in our fucking friend circle to the point where they're like,
That's so hard. Dude.
so hard.
So did we make the cut?
No,
Come on, yeah, no, I'm just here to.
You're not in the group chat yet.
Need some money or something?
Yeah, you make the group chat. You're doing
We're
something.
Yeah.
Can you
we
hook
have
us
we
up,
have
Cody?
a group
Cody,
chat that's like a
Cody,
fucking
hook us
MC,
up.
man. But what it is like when you're not running a business, right? A club is a business. It is. You're promoting. You're trying to get people to join. Solid people. That's everybody. What they want is solid members. But when it's just us and it's three of us, and we bring another dude, it's like, man, you met him. He's fucking solid. He rides. He's down to us. He's got the financial means to go on the trips that we go to. He's got vacation time. That's a thing that we have to vet our friends with. I don't know, man. Let's see how he does tonight. Can he drink?
Give him one more shot.
Yeah. Can he drink?
Can he hang?
Is he gonna body slam somebody?
Yeah. So you end up finding these guys that like literally like they're not joining a name, a patch. They're joining dudes that are doing real shit. And they're doing it because we want to do it, not because we're trying to sell something.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and for us, our club is really the two of us, and now we've added a third. And occasionally we'll have 12 or 15 guys. That's it. It's like it's.
Is this a wolf pack?
And by the way, this Wolfman Jack coming at you live. But that's our
you got
club.
a strip club announcer voice? I didn't even know that.
But that's our club because we just love to get out and go.
Yeah.
But we have the young guns that love
But
riding.
I'm saying we do
yeah.
that. But the 90% of our ride is us.
Like we did the Mammoth trip. I don't know if you saw that vlog. Mm-hmm. And it was all the young guys. They brought some skateboards.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Went up to Mammoth, and we all had fun.
But I just raised that because it was kind of interesting to hear them say, like, and we went through that, just our ability to kind of just go out and go.
Yeah.
And to me, conceptually, I don't understand that some ways.
And that's why I wanted to have those guys on to debate it, because I know that what they do, I don't mean to belittle the club concept, right? Because I have massive respect for the Four for the Road dudes, and then just the clubs that I know here in Dallas, the people I know in California. I have massive respect for that.
Yeah.
Because it's a different lifestyle that has its cool parts, but it also has its drawbacks, if you will. You know what I mean?
Well, and we have the respect as well. I mean, we've never. They ask us if we ever had issues, and we've never had issues.
It's the same thing with us. Like what? No, we actually. So at this campground this last weekend, we were in Florida. There was a club there. I think they were Outlaws, or they were a subsidiary of the Outlaws Club, like a support club for Outlaws, right? And it was funny because the guys that I was with, one of the dudes was this dude named Big Trouble. He has a CVO performance bagger, one of the nicest in America. Arguably maybe the first CVO performance bagger in America.
Really?
He wants that title. I'm trying to give it to him. He's a solid dude. But he's a bail bonds dude. He's 6'7", looks like you fucking like, I don't know, he's just strong as shit, right? I shouldn't depict men that way. It seems
gay.
Well,
strong as shit.
This has been kind of a little bit of a play on this tonight.
Play on strokes.
All right, you want to jerk him off
strokes.
now?
No, he's a solid dude. And we were in there having a good time, but our group was so fucking, like, we don't have cuts on. We don't even fucking wear vests.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we're all in there having a good ass time, and like there's no care in the world. We're fucking owning the bar, owning the party, because we're just there living it up. And our little group of friends that started doing this campout shit across America. And these dudes walked in and like tried to check us. Who are you guys with? What is that? Because the thing is, our buddy Craig did a T-shirt that said Down South Campout. So they saw our T-shirts and thought that was some kind of club affiliation thing. And just out of the principle, I wanted to fight these dudes. Why are you checking me on a T-shirt, motherfucker?
Right.
You know how this works.
Right.
I don't have a rocker. I don't even have anything on the back of my shirt.
Right.
You checking us? They checked us because we were having a fun time, and they had to come here to police people.
Right.
When you get in those clubs, especially the 1% clubs, you take on a role of policing other men. This is fun. Motorcycling is fun.
Right.
If you're going to come to the bar to check other men and their fun level because maybe they're having a good time, but I don't like that logo on their shirt. I need to go find out what that's about.
Right.
Loosen up, motherfucker.
Well, that's just like us.
Have
when
a
we
beer.
We go on a trip and we all walk in somewhere. We all got Trashin or
Yeah.
2-lane lanes.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Who are
What is
these
that?
dudes?" You know, who are you with? Same thing.
There was some old lady there so this campground, like I said, was pretty rough.
Can
There
we
was-
cut the podcast here while I take a break, or?
No, you're good.
I'd say the biggest moment for me though with the Four for the Road podcast was when they did say, "We envy you guys because you can just go. We can't."
Are they? I don't know those guys. Are they younger?
They're kind of mixed.
Yeah.
Older, younger. What I would say to them is, and one thing that I think is hindering the motorcycle club culture is this complete devotion to tradition, which I do appreciate, but without looking at the future and how you can reshape what you have to fit the future,
Right.
you're going to find yourself in a very, very, it's like, for a lack of a better term, an analogy with me and my camera buddy over here, because I finally have one in here. It's like being the dude that doesn't want to switch to digital cameras, right? Everybody's doing it. Nobody sells film anymore. You're just making your shit harder. If you really have something that's amazing, you have to make it fit the narrative. Like
Right.
our country's not big anymore like it felt like it was in Route 66 days. Right? That was a month-long trip to go across country,
Right.
basically. Now it's we're 2 days, we're on
Right.
coast to coast,
A
right?
couple days, and the world gets to experience through cameras. And,
Yeah.
Exactly.
sharing
So
stuff.
our world is a lot smaller now, and you have to maybe not lose all the values that make a motorcycle club what it is, because I think a lot of those things are what makes it amazing. But this whole like fighting over territory and
Right.
drugs, like, you really selling drugs, dude? Like, nobody sells drugs anymore,
Right.
dude. This shit's legal almost everywhere. You know what I mean?
Maybe in Oregon.
Huh?
Who am I peeing in front of down there?
Oh, that's Trent.
I've noticed that a couple of times.
What kind of vibe you putting off
You got a creeper watching you.
Yeah.
got a creeper on
Hey,
me.
creeper
Trent's
cool.
always creeping, bro.
He's a professional creeper.
Yeah. He's got like 3,000 followers because he becomes memes.
He was supposed to be on that trip with us, but 100 miles outside
So
of Amarillo.
just outside of Amarillo, he
Bike
broke down?
no, it didn't break down. His pulley came off on his. He
Pulley
had sport
bolts
glide.
backed out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Solid dude though.
He
Yeah.
was supposed to be on that trip.
Solid dude, not a solid
Yeah, I
boy.
just had a full-on conversation with him. I didn't know his name, but I'm like, "Hey, dude, how you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you watching me? Okay, let's do
That's
this."
a
that-
live stream on its own.
It took me 5 minutes to get started.
Yeah, you had to ask permission to
Right.
finish. Am I allowed to be done here?
Right.
So
Somehow
no.
I knew his name was Trent.
So I took that picture. He was actually at our campout this year. Like, usually at our campout, one part of the day, monsoon comes through and it's
Right.
over, and it just makes it super humid for the rest of the day. And so he had this rain suit on. He was like, he wears these goggles, looks like David Koresh, right? And he just tries to be creepy looking. And I was like walking around my camera, I caught it, and it was that he. Better story about that. Though that picture, we took that to Sturgis because he couldn't make Sturgis because he had an accident on his bike. So he missed that trip last year because the pulley came loose, the bolts. And this year he had a wreck 2 weeks before Sturgis.
Yeah,
So you missed
you
it.
brought the picture this year?
We took it.
Yeah,
And they
it
were
was-
taking it all around and
When
like
we
getting
were
like
in,
old lady
One
tits.
Eye Jack, she brought it in.
Yeah.
That's classic.
I saw that. That's funny. That's how I knew him. Jeez.
You knew him. Yeah.
I knew I've seen that face.
I'm like, did I sleep with him? No.
But that's the thing is like we tried to. That's friendship, man.
Right.
That's what that shit is. It's like we all felt it that he couldn't be there. You know what I
Right.
mean? And we, our buddy Kyle Jive Ass Honky, we talked about him earlier, Mullet
Yep.
King.
Okay.
He decided to print these things out. He brought 2 of them. One got destroyed. Some of those chicks have fucking bangers for boobs, and they tear up everything.
Right.
And so it started just the goal was to just get as many biker trash chicks, boobs, and with the picture of Trent.
I like
And
that.
he was stuck at home with fucking rods in his leg, and he was just getting this constant stories and feed. Like, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
If that was me, I would be so. I would probably like maybe cry a little bit. You know what I mean?
That's,
People are thinking about you when they're having fun, you know?
yeah.
Well, that's brotherhood, and that comes back to the point
Brotherhood,
behind-
yeah. We can call each other brothers.
behind all this,
Brother?
and behind making shit genuine and not throwing around that term like it might be thrown around in
Right.
other scenarios, like
Exactly.
you were saying.
Yeah.
It's like keeping things genuine, making it enjoyable, and not setting limits on certain things, whether it be where you can go or whatever it may be.
So you live in West Texas.
East Texas.
East Texas.
I live
And
2
you're
hours
like
east
2
of-
hours east.
It's almost like you keep saying west
I know, I don't
versus
know why.
east. Is like you were trying to figure out how to say Amarillo.
I know, right? It wouldn't
So he has watched
it
all
just
the
wouldn't
videos.
come off the tongue right.
It's just
Straight I-20 east.
Yeah.
So are you going home tonight?
No, it's, well,
he's gonna ride with us. all the
Oh,
time.
duh.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the rest of
I'm
the
an
crew.
hour
How
from-
far are you guys?
So
away
half
from
the
me?
crew is from East Texas, and the other
So-
half is from
yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah.
So how'd you all hook up? Just
I came to a campout.
is that how?
Yeah.
Really?
So how big is the camp out now? How many people do you have?
It's kind of like what we said about tomorrow with this ride that we're gonna do. If it's 5, I'm dope. I'm
Right.
cool with that. If it's 500, cool.
Yeah.
You know that
Last year the campout was what, 200?
it was about 200 people, and we were only expecting about 100. But with COVID, there was a big jump of people that just wanted to get the fuck out of the house
Right.
and feel normal. You know what I mean? And that camp out was a great place. This year, if we did 200, if we did another 200 this year, I expect that at least, but maybe more.
Do you have to organize the whole thing?
I was going to
So
say,
this-
how do you organize
This
that?
is the thing about it. We were talking about it last night again. The camp out.
And the campsite. Show up or don't.
The camp out is, I don't make any money. None of us make money on it. So I'm not working there.
right.
You're camping.
I'm posting.
But you like
when-
to take pictures. Though.
Having a good
I do.
time.
I like
your
doing
deal.
that because the photography thing is, it feels good to give somebody, like, I've said this many times on the podcast, but like, it's very expensive to get a paint job, a helmet from me. But I have a lot of people that I admire, that are good friends, that are people that I think are dope. And it's like, maybe a photograph of them in some form or
The
fashion
environment that
isn't
they're in,
much
yeah.
to give them. But to me, it's like, look, bro, like I caught you candid in situation, or I got your bike. It's just, maybe it's a half-ass way of me giving people something for free,
I don't
even
think
though,
Them
it's-
something money can't buy.
yeah.
That's
If
not
you pay for a
half-ass.
photo shoot, you know that photographer's there to catch something.
I mean, believe me,
If
there's a
someone
guy
can
on
get a
Mulholland,
photo-
Drive that's
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
photos all day long and,
Yeah.
and
20
charging
bucks each?
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So I showed up. So where my name comes from, the Big Wheel Cody deal is.
What's your name again?
Big Wheel Cody?
Big Wheel Cody.
So I showed
From
up,
East Texas.
I showed up 2 years ago at one of their campouts, and he, which I kind of hit him up before I came. I was like, dude, look, I'm on a big wheel, but I like to ride bikes. You know, he's like, fuck it, just come. I showed up.
We were all on Dynas at the time.
It's a performance. Yeah, it's more like Dynas, baggers. You know, like performance style bikes and
Right.
shit. And I showed up, and shit, here we are 2 years later, and like fucking
So-
damn good friends.
That's
you know?
pretty
and we,
cool.
And we done.
Yeah.
So it's through the camp out.
We've done traveled every time zone together, been all across the country together. You know, since then in the last 2 years. You know,
Yeah.
so I just showed up.
And that's
on-
kind of
I
one of
showed
the
up
things
on a
that,
limb.
you know, like I think it's amazing that you guys have been friends for 30 years. Because I look at the guys that I was friends with 10 years ago, my bike club, for instance, and I wouldn't say I'm not friends with them anymore, but we're just so far out of like
Right.
separated that
Different
it's
time zones.
different time zones is a good analogy. Yeah, man. And so it's like, but I think for my generation or like this like 40 and down crowd, this whole traveling on a bike just became something that like that fit the narrative for us in the last couple of years, because I don't think it was on the docket for a lot of people. When you ask a dude that just turned 30, they're probably getting into a better financial situation in their life, maybe looking at a newer car, a better house, things like that. They're not looking at taking off 2 weeks a month to go ride bikes with dudes, women not allowed, you know what I mean, kind of vibes. It's a weird dynamic, but, you know, the other thing is I found so many dudes are looking for this type of friendship because those friendships they had through high school, maybe college, maybe their early adulthood, never really went anywhere because it was full of dudes figuring their shit out and they didn't know who the fuck they were.
Well, what do they call that when you get older, you've been married for a while, and you have the
dementia?
Crisis? No, the 7 year like the 7 year itch.
Yeah.
Midlife crisis.
Crisis, and it's like when I hear people say that, it's like no, it's everything you just said: girls, wife, kids, life, building, trying to pay for the house. Then you get done with that. I had kids young, so my kids hang out with me now. But I can do what I want now, right?
Yeah.
You can leave.
Also,
go have fun.
Also, to follow that is like what you say about the bucket list. You don't need a bucket list if you live your life as you want to live it.
Absolutely, and I always say that. I have zero bucket list because I'm not going to check anything off because I'm living it every day.
Yeah.
If I die today, I'm happy.
Right. We say a lot of times, you know, to each other, it's easy to stay friends with the people that you grew up with in your hometown where it's convenient to see each other, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, anytime I want to see these guys and my buddies in Dallas, I got to drive 2 hours. I mean,
Right.
It's not convenient.
Well, he grew up in Utah.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up in the young life together, but our wives worked together.
Okay.
And that's how we'd see each other at parties.
Right.
We'd drink, we'd have fun. This is great, we'd have a blast. We should get together. We kind of would, and then we wouldn't. Then time would go by.
Yeah.
Another party, we'd have fun. We got Harleys. Didn't know it. We each got them.
Yeah.
And it's like, we were at a
You
party.
get a ride too?
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
Yes. and ever since, we rode once with our wives to
Karate in the
breakfast.
garage?
And then another month or so went by. And then we went on a ride, and it was on. From that point on, it was just every weekend. You know.
But I think there's people in your life that, and there's not a lot of them generally, but people that even if you're apart for a number of years, you know, it's still like you're friends or you have each other's back or there's.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
This is maybe you can test to this, but you know how in some relationships, I don't know if you guys have been like lifelong married to your high school sweethearts or not, but you know how like in some relationships with women, you might stay with them because you've the relationship sucks, it's over, but you've got history now. Like
Right.
you've done so much. I think that same rule applies to friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that you need to break up with your friends, but maybe at some point you just realize that you guys don't have anything in common anymore.
Right.
And you just need to leave it to the reunions.
Absolutely.
Well,
to
here,
be
I'm
friends.
going to give you one of my quotes. You've heard it plenty of times, but I always tell this to people, and I've kind of lived my married life this way. So anyone that's getting married, I tell them this.
Don't do it.
You have to become one, but you need to stay two.
Yeah.
You got to have your own lives. You got to do your stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
And then you're happy to be with each other.
Well, you know, something me and my brother have always talked about is the fact that, like, a lot of people mistaken relationships as in, like, I'm going to get with this chick or I'm going to get with this guy, and that's going to make me happy, right?
If you're
But
not
really,
happy yourself, you ain't gonna.
yeah, you're never going to.
Exactly.
But I think in marriage, I mean, you know, you get married and it's great and grand, and then you have kids, and the kids end up taking a little bit of energy out of the marriage.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to be focused on them. And so you
That's a good dad.
you become
I'm not a good
less
dad.
focused on each other.
Dude, I got a fucking bike ride later on. Fuck off with your soccer match.
But it's
no diapers. I need new tires.
but it becomes taxing on the relationship, you know, and
Yeah.
and it's interesting because as our kids got out of the house, the Harley actually brought us back together. Not that we were apart, but the energy came back in like, let's just jump on the Harley and go somewhere, you know, and then we ended up, figuring out that these guys have a bike. Well, let's go together. Let's.
We've had some great trips with their wives.
But they are married 36 years.
Yeah.
So you were 23 and Laura was 19.
Woo!
Yeah. And I got married. I was 24 and my wife was 26.
Yeah.
25 and 27, I think it was.
But I got 3 weeks to get married, apparently.
Right. But
That's impressive.
but if you look at it this way,
Yeah.
we can say, hey, Laura and Teresa, we're going to go. We're going to be in Texas. We're going to go.
Yeah.
All right, you guys be safe. Have a good time.
You know what? That's another thing. Like, maybe this might not be biker of us, but like my group of friends, like we all have wives, women, but we all work well because we're not dirtbag dudes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You take care of business.
It's like when we go out of town, like we're not hitting the fucking local bar and then like holla, 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 holla.
Yeah.
Holla, holla, holla. Like trying to hit on every chick that walks by. Like that's not what we're doing. We're just out more or less. I think that like all we do is like, we just want to ride across country and then go to like Rock Springs, Wyoming, get a whiskey and talk shit about our wives. Right?
Hey, that's good.
We love them, but we just were like, oh, this motherfucker here, dude. Let me tell you what she did last
Same
week.
thing.
Yeah.
What do you think they're doing when you're gone? You know.
So, but it's like the thing is like we don't have that one dude that's putting us in situations where like, man, like I'm not trying to like I got a wife at home that's letting me do a lot of crazy shit on bikes with a lot of homies. You're gonna like put me in a weird place with her if she finds out that we went to this strip club and fucking so and so wherever and that place. She Googles it and is like, oh, you can get your dick sucked here or some shit. I'm like, well, no, it didn't happen to me, babe. I just I just played Angry Birds the whole time.
Jenga.
I was out monitoring the door.
Right.
I told them no. I didn't want to go in there, and they drug me in there. They took my wallet. I had to go chase it in there. They used my card and ran all those lap dances.
Right.
Okay.
I had to buy him one. Yeah.
All right. So you're the typical male with the excuses.
It was buy a 3, get one free.
Oh man, I think that we're fortunate that, and I bet you guys could say that too. It's like it's fortunate that we all have wives that are on board with us chasing these cowboy fucking dreams is what I like to look at it as. There's no other better way to describe the shit that we do when we ride bikes across country. It's cowboy shit.
That's why I bring my hat, man.
Okay. That's why you bring it.
But yeah, we
Whole tour pack for a hat.
Right.
And a laptop.
we're
Hey,
blessed with
you're
that.
like, hey man, can I throw this in? Like, hats in there,
Not a
Stetson's in
fucking
there, buddy.
chance. Not a chance.
Can't mess that up.
Right.
We're definitely blessed with people that are wives that allow us to, live our dream out, and
Yeah.
at the same time, they're part of that dream, which is cool for us because they'll do 650 miles a day
Yeah.
because they want to be part of it and see what we're seeing. And oftentimes, it's like we go and we'll say we should bring them back. Like they'll dig
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
But no restrictions, though.
right?
If my wife wants to go to Vegas with her girlfriends, go.
Right.
See, that's the same way I am. Right?
I
We're
mean,
both that way.
And
Yeah.
if I want to go somewhere and you're going to try and say, don't go, we can't be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't marry you for you to be my boss and me become a
So what time you come home tonight?
Yeah, no
I
way.
don't fucking know.
He calls in at 9 every night.
But seriously, the one you can't stay together if you're gonna bird dog each other and give each other shit. That's not why you get to fucking
Right.
together. You get
Yeah.
together because you like each other, not
And
the
that-
Or you might love each other.
Yeah, and that comes back
Right,
around
well,
to
yeah.
like comes back around and living a genuine life. When you live a genuine life, you attract genuine people, and you're allowed to do your own thing.
right.
Well,
you respect each
life
other.
is hard enough as it is. So if you can kind of just
Find
kiss it,
someone to
keep
make
it
it easy.
simple, and,
Right.
And if there's a value set that you have some commonality with, it just makes it a hell of a lot easier.
I mean, I've heard guys say, "My wife lets me go," and I go, "What? What does that mean?
First
Lets
off,
you?"
get your balls out of her purse.
Right.
All right.
Right.
And grow up.
And it's funny because we joke about it. He'd go, and this is a great thing. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Did you tell Teresa you're going? He goes, well, I don't have to because even if she wasn't into it, she knows I'm going anyway. You know what I mean? I love that.
But that's
That's
fair,
not
though.
true, honey.
Like when you're in a
Teresa, that's not exactly.
No,
what it
that's
says.
that's not how it goes. I get your blessing.
You always get the blessing, but she knows you're gonna go
on
anyway.
paper, you need a blessing. Like we see you winking over here.
Yeah.
No, that is kind of the thing about it. It's like you know, like a lot of dudes, a lot of people in general, like there's so many obstacles to why they can't travel with their friends. And maybe they see your videos, they see our things, they see all this shit and they want to do it, but they can't, they don't know how to fucking inspire their friends to take that leap with them.
It'd be hard to go alone.
How would you like try
100%.
to inspire that people to do that?
Well, like he was saying about, we have friends that we can't go on this trip because we have to work and whatnot. But are you going to a bar on a Thursday night? Are you doing this? It's all about priorities. And if you're taking the shortcut to I'm not going to say the easy way out. That's not what I mean by it. But taking that quick escape to a bar or to something during the week when you could just put the hours in, work real hard, and then get out of town.
Right.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, anyone can do that. Most people, you know.
Yeah.
Well, but we get a lot of comments about, I wish I had friendship like you do. I wish I could find guys to ride with. I wish,
You're pulling my heartstrings right now.
I'm
I'm
telling
gonna
you.
piss some people off with my thoughts on this.
Because it's like, and you feel for that person, but it's like, I can't. If you can live vicariously through our vlogs, okay, cool.
Surely you can find somebody with general interest.
Right.
I mean,
But-
the internet. That's
the
the
thing
best
about
social
people,
media is you can find friends.
The thing about it is that like, think about who you are as a friend, not who you want as a friend.
Right.
Like, don't do like, oh man, I need Galen to be this guy for me. Galen's the guy, man. He's my friend. I can't wait to just, be Galen.
Right.
Be the best friend for other people first, and see what kind of things become of that, because you become the spark or the
Spark for sure.
you become that guy that is doing some
Yeah.
things. I mean, trust me, like my role of being the inspirer for a lot of my friends doesn't come at their wives hate me.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
I'm an asshole to everybody else, but somehow I bring all the boys to the yard. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It's like all these dudes praise me because I've showed them another place in life to ride bikes and have this amazing lifestyle and have pictures with scenic views like that. And you could have that with your wife. You really could.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, like a lot of the way we ride a bike across the country, the way we just,
They're not gonna
we don't
enjoy
have.
it.
But the funny thing is our two wives, they'll do, like I say, they did a 680-mile day. They never complain. They love it when we get to the restaurant, get some wine, eat.
Yeah.
But I think
no complaints.
I think
Very
what you're
rare.
saying
Yeah,
is
yes.
that camaraderie and the running for the border.
What I'm trying to say is that
you
need that amongst men,
Right.
to have the real self-confidence to be the man for your old
100%.
lady.
Yeah, I agree with
And
that.
that's the thing that people don't understand, is that like you can chase your woman's fucking be the best guy for her, but you're a faggot to everybody else.
Right.
Right? Oh, you're a great husband. You're a great dude. She's probably fucking some other dude at work because you're a pussy.
Yeah.
Because you have no balls. You didn't
This
live your
moment is now sponsored by Montucky.
yeah.
This phrase is sponsored by Montucky.
8% pussy dude.
Your old lady's out there getting some cold snacks while you're out there trying. No, all I'm saying is that like
You're right. You're 100% right.
if you just be a fucking man and don't be scared of saying that, you could be a better husband. You could be a better listener. You can be a better inspirer to your wife and the things she wants to pursue in life, hobby wise.
Right.
If you just perfect one thing in your life, like being friendships, like having that, investing in that.
But those kind of things right there, when you do that and come home, you are better. And you
yeah.
kind of want to.
100%.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, the best time or the most time that I want to be around my wife, or I want to, I
Watch
miss
your
her or
step here,
whatever,
Cody.
It's when I'm on a road trip.
And then you're even thinking about her.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those like, damn, I miss my wife.
But
I want to go home.
Right.
But it's really opened my eyes, and I think our eyes. I don't know. You can speak for you, but I didn't expect the kind of comments we were going to get, right? And it's
What kind of underwear do you guys wear when you
yeah, there's a lot of the thong kind of.
That's really real. It's weird.
Well, when we did the cold weather change, we were down in our long johns.
your skippies?
Yeah.
But it's been interesting to see, and it's good, bad, and indifferent.
Yeah.
Mostly good, but you get these comments about wish we had that, wish I could find it, wish, and it's just
woe is me.
You gotta make
Right.
it happen.
Right.
No, you gotta take some
There's
initiative.
opportunities hitting all the time, and the difference is like you guys are doing some young guy shit. Maybe not. Maybe
no,
not.
no. But the young guys in our circle are like, man, you guys are badass. I mean, you guys make us look weak.
Right.
Yeah. These older guys, they've been following this narrative that hasn't like appealed to them, and all of a sudden you guys come along and you appeal to them, but they feel awkward to find their like maybe it's guys like us that are doing this shit in their neck of the woods, dressing the way we do, riding T-bars on our bikes. They're used to wearing these fucking whips hanging down their bikes and like
Chaps.
and like getting support patches from their local club, so they feel relevant in their bike scene. We're not. You didn't wear vests here. I got a fucking Espinosa's, OG Espinosa's. That's probably worth money, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
But I don't wear it anymore because I don't wear a vest because that's not my life.
Right.
You know
We
what I
could
mean?
walk in any place and they're really not going to say, were they bikers?
Right.
And
Yeah.
back to
We
the comment thing. Like, we've gotten comments that where the intention came from, I don't know, but they came off as a little negative. I wish I could just not work and ride around all day. Well, where I see it, where that's coming from, is you blaming other people for your ability to not do something when, one,
So-
we all are working. He runs a business. He's got financial interest. I do things on the side as well. We're all doing things
he's
and making a
rich, is what you're
sacrifice. He's got things going on. We all have things going on, but we're all making a
He's
sacrifice.
got money tied up in many places.
But then if you look at
Offshore islands.
I mean, even
I
if you
own
look at all-
Montucky.
Oh, this is that fucking secret boss thing where they
Jace, you're fired.
shit.
But,
But-
we're all making sacrifices to be able to do this, and we're not making excuses and,
Yeah.
and telling other people, "Oh, I wish I could do that." Well, then just go fucking do it. Go
Well, think about it. If you were in a relationship and
I
you
am.
brought up to your wife like, "Hey, maybe you're not capable of saying like, I need this. I need friends like this. I need a vibe like this in my life to make me feel worth it."
You're in the wrong relationship.
And she can't deal with that. She can't be like, you know what, babe, I trust you. I know what you're saying. Go do what you got to do. Then you're probably in a wrong relationship. You're in an insecure relationship where you're not allowed to have that life outside of your relationship. When people don't realize that you need a life outside of your relationship and your wife needs a life outside of your relationship, and you come to the table and you share the fucking potatoes together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You share it.
But you take the three of us, and you guys are the same. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. He left a place in Utah, came out here young, on his own, no money, and built something.
Yeah.
I've never really worked for someone because I've always done my own thing. He's doing his own thing right now. That's like adventurers.
Do you think Lance was like those pageant moms, but with his son?
Oh, I've seen
Those
PW50, and Lance is like.
Lance is over there like,
win this.
oh, hit that jump, do a double whip.
No,
Here we go,
I
money,
can-
money, money.
I can tell you for a fact, I saw a lot of moto dads,
Yeah.
like mean. Hit their kids, yell at their kids.
Oh shit, that's.
And I even questioned, because I'd be at like the World Minis in Vegas, and I'd be at the line, and Lance is on an 80, and it's like the race. We're paid money to get there. We're there. And I would just say, go have a good time, man.
yeah.
And then I would be like, is that right? Am I not making him like, but I didn't give a shit. And then he said, I'm changing race. I'm going to get into freestyle. All right, well, let's go, And I got to travel the world with him because of his freestyle. Right. But I took him training every day. I'd leave work and people would be like, if you focus this much on your business as you did on your son, but it's like I did what I did and it kind of went full circle. And then he got into, we're all in the Harley world now. And like, it's just been great.
Dude, like,
But I wasn't a motivator.
yeah, he's a pageant dad.
No, I am
So
not.
his son's
No.
dad
No,
enjoyed
no.
that.
Yeah, he's total
Yeah.
pageant
Never,
dad.
never.
I would actually look at it and term it this way. He was a passionate father.
yeah.
And his passion was not to drive his kid to hate motocross or freestyle. His passion was to enjoy life. And so,
Enjoy what you're doing.
yeah, and I think that has come through in Lance's now business acumen from, Trashin. I mean, this thing is going very, very well.
Yeah.
Doing it, yeah.
And part of it's that drive, and the family is close. There's no doubt about it. There's grandfathers and grandparents and great grandparents, and it's an American family that believes in each other, has got each other's back.
Yeah.
Well, one thing growing up, like if I said,
but hold on, there are haters out there, and it's really annoying, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's everyone.
Lance only got this because his dad pushed this. Well, Lance only did this, and Lance is doing. And Galen's kid only. It's like life
Everybody
is meant
wants
to
to-
be
yeah.
lived. Just go live your life. Don't
when you're
don't
doing
beat
when you're
the
doing
shit out
things
of
that people
everybody.
want to do,
Yeah.
Whether you're little Lance, I know you don't call
Yeah.
him little Lance. When you're little Lance, it's, and you everybody wants to find the commonality that debunks the fact that he's great at what he does.
Right.
Right. And the fact that, like, even with you guys doing that now, it's like it's badass to see that, like, he's doing that. And it does kind of intertwine with the 2-lane life.
right?
But it's not 2-lane life. Like, 2-lane life is Galen and Lance, Big
Right.
Lance, Big Lance. And y'all do your own thing, and it's great that you have this intertwining thing that works. Now, I say I wish my son's into YouTube. I don't know how to I don't know how to play that narrative. Like, how do I can't get him a fucking,
Well, first of all,
I
give
can't
him
get
the
a big board
GoPro
kit for
9 and let's
YouTube.
get started. Give him the GoPro 9. Let's get started on the channel.
So here's the thing, though. I have done that. My son, I doubled down on him doing the YouTube thing because he showed initiative to want to learn to create video. Honestly, we built the studio last year. He wanted to be here.
Right.
He saw these microphones. He's like, all these YouTube channels I watch, like, they have shit like this. Like, you do this? Like, you're cool now, Dad. I'm like, finally,
Yeah.
magazines on the wall, bikes and all this shit. And it's like, I have a studio now and it's cool. And it's like, he would do like stop motion and shit because he was into like the toy figures and shit. I'm like, I want to push that on him, man. But it's kind of, it's just, it's different, right? Because, like, it was easy to push the dirt bike thing, or I grew up playing sports. So it was easy to push the sports thing on kids. But now there's this electronic age, right? Where we're pushing, like, you were talking about the video footage, the H2.6, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
There's a lot of nerd shit.
Here's what I would say: don't push, pull.
Yeah.
Like, pull him
That's
into the
exactly
right.
it.
Like, if I watched him, I was an athlete. My son was an athlete, but I didn't push him into the sport I played or the sports that I played. I let him figure out what he wanted to do and encouraged him, pulled him into the side of it, saying, "Let's go with this. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We're there for you 100%."
So the
If
one
we
thing
were
that-
all the same, it'd be a very boring fucking
For
world.
sure.
Right?
So what I've been trying to do with my son is that he enjoys camping.
Yeah.
He does like riding. I did take him to our K River campground where we do our thing. He rode it all the way. It was like 200 miles. He did it. And at the end of it, he goes, "That was a long time." That's all he said. It was like, "That was a long time." I was like, "So did you like it, or did you want your phone the whole time?" Like, I didn't really get it, but I am trying to push him into, like,
pull him.
pull him into these things that I do that he's probably not going to experience that anywhere else. Like, where else is he going to experience a whole? But
But maybe his thing
So my
is-
son's half black. He's mixed. And his mom's side is obviously drinking the Biden water. And and so the weirdest thing was when I took him to this camp out or this little party at Sandoval's, the K River campground. He goes, "Why is all these Trump flags everywhere?" And I was like, because he's, unfortunately, because of a lot of things, like they're pushing those narratives in school and in younger ages now. I don't think it's fair.
No,
No.
it's terrible.
Not fair.
It's not fair that they should hate their president and they don't even fucking understand what a president is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so he's bred to hate the idea of the word Trump. He sees that and he's like, "This is not
That
safe."
person, yeah,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, son, we're here.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go skip rocks, bro.
Right.
Right.
And that's what we did for fucking an hour. We were just skipping rocks, playing around.
Yeah,
And I was like,
I've had my granddaughter say, well, we don't think Trump's good. Why? Well, they said it in school. And I'm like, no, here's why he's good. You know?
So you believe the first person that said it's.
But they're young, and they shouldn't even be talking about it. You know?
yeah, but that's the
They
thing about
shouldn't
school,
be
right?
brought
We tell our kids like, hey, go to school. They're gonna teach you things,
Yeah.
and then they teach them things, and then they start pushing their own narrative onto
Right.
kids.
Exactly.
Politics and religion,
I don't think
touchy
there's any
subject.
place.
Politics and religion is probably not a place to push through school.
We don't bring it up in our vlogs. We
Yeah.
ride.
No, yeah,
Same
Now,
exactly.
Lance has a 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son who's named Lance. There's 3 of us.
Real original. Real original.
But the daughter, Luca.
Have you heard of the name Jace? It's pretty good.
Luca and him love being Lance rides him around the yard on the Honda 70s and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're all about it. But the pull is a good thing. See, but when
good
I
word.
grew up, if I said, "Oh, I want to play football," my mom and dad would be like, "No, that's like you can break a bone and don't do it," and you know.
Yeah.
So I did my own thing when I was 16. I'm going to go to Kern. I'm going to go to get a kayak. I did my own adventures.
Yeah, you used to do a lot of like river things.
I was a river guy.
Yeah.
And I raced whitewater kayaks. And so I did my own. So when my kids, daughter, son, whatever, would say, I want to do this.
You got other kids
Yeah, I have a
other
daughter.
than Lance?
Yeah.
How's that?
Lauren. And I would say,
She okay?
if I want to do this, yeah. She's like, I want to do this. Go for it. I would never say don't. I said,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, I'll back you. I want to do this, even if I thought I wouldn't do
I mean,
that.
look, you got to. We're there for guidance, and you got to teach the principles for them when they do fly the nest. Right? Can they fly? Can they?
Yeah.
At least if they can't, can they land safely? And I mean, if he's into YouTube, I mean, is it your 200-mile ride? You hand him a GoPro and say, "Film 3 things for me," right? Like,
Good point, yeah.
And let's build a little montage off of
But
that.
he might not want to build YouTube stuff, his son. He might want to build
I'm
other
just saying,
crazy
have
stuff.
like
Well,
that's where you pull him
does.
in.
No, he does
Yeah.
want to do that. He wants to be that's the one thing about his YouTube addiction that I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Is the fact that he wants to create his own content. And it's way different than like if you just consume people's content, you're looking
Yeah,
for
if
the
he's
next
just
one.
Is there-
like drowning in the content, if he's trying to be creative and that you pull him into that a little
Yeah.
bit.
Is there any way you can have him subscribe to 2 Lane Life and hit the bell?
Ring the bell.
Well, that was a hallmark moment.
But no, there's a lot to it, man. It's maybe getting way too deep because I'm fucking tucky deep right now.
Hey, got 4 more.
Speaking of the devil,
Oh, hit me, boss.
Kentucky.
I'm 38 years old, man. I had kids young, but I honestly feel like I'm still at a point in my life where I'm trying to get my own shit together, right? To where like,
Does that ever?
I haven't.
It seems like you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I do a
You're
good
at a
job.
place in a
I do a
space.
good job on social media, right? I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. Like, I'm constantly like, I have too many things that are on the line that are like, if this doesn't happen, this falls apart. There's too many. The house of cards, right? This one doesn't fit, it falls apart. And when you have like these kids, and you want to start pursuing their passions, their dreams, and you want to invest in them, but you're so fucking balls deep into this house of cards you're building on social media, which is now our brand and our business and blah blah blah. And it's just like it's stressful, man. It's hard to do it. And I don't want to make an excuse as to why like I don't do whatever I should be doing as a father, blah blah blah, but it's not. I don't want to make a woe is me statement here, but it's really weird being a entrepreneurial kind of guy, having your own business in the motorcycle industry, but not making a product that people sell. Right? Like I'm not making a cam that I make 500 of them. You sell 500.
You're selling yourself and your lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm selling hours of my time.
I mean, people like you, so you're doing something right.
Some people like me. Yeah,
I mean,
Well, I don't.
they don't have to. They keep listening though. I gotta pee again.
right.
Yeah. I hear them.
Well, that comes back to the entrepreneurial thing. I mean, anyone who's had any sort of venture starting a business and and or starting and succeeding in business, you know there's ups and downs.
Yeah.
Downs. If there was an exact formula, if I put in this many hours and do this thing right, and this will work, everyone would fucking do it.
Right.
And that's why 80%, don't quote me on the percentage, but so and so percent of people take the safe route
90%.
and go not saying school is bad or anything. I did it. I know a lot of people that did it, but do your thing and then maybe hate on people that took the road less traveled, because that road less traveled is a really fucking hard road to hike.
Oh, yeah.
Hard road to hike or ride.
Right.
You know, so there's just a lot of different aspects to it. You know?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, I dropped out.
Well,
I would
on the back
suggest
of my
that,
son's
but-
helmet, I painted. He wanted me to paint, so real big letters on the back of his helmet. It says "dropout"
Yeah.
because same thing.
Well, that's one of the most badass things. I've seen like Aventadors mobbing down the highway, and the license plate is Dropout. I probably told you guys about the kid, but I knew a kid growing up, and we had some dealings, I guess, and he was kind of a not so directed person, didn't have his shit together really, and then so I disengaged, didn't talk to him. He came back into my kind of circle years later, and now, I mean, he's making really big moves and doing really big things because he figured his shit out and realized, like, there is no formula. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to put in my work and take that risk. The risk is the thing that no one, that's the gap between the people
Yeah, risking
doing what
for
they
the
want to
reward.
do and taking the comfortable route. And now he's doing that thing, and he's just absolutely thriving, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what comes back to what you're saying is, if you took that risk and if you're on that path, there's frequently that's going to happen. We're like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing,
Dude,
but like
you are.
I
went through that shit 2 days ago. I was like,
but it's always going to be back and forth.
Why am I not working at AutoZone or some shit? You know what I mean?
Because you wouldn't be happy.
But what would you rather be doing?
You know what? It's constantly a struggle between happiness and like security, right? It's secure. The thing about being an entrepreneur is about the fact that you're basically putting your whole entire family's livelihood on the edge of a cliff.
Yep.
And you're just constantly trying to put a little bit of mud underneath that cliff to make that fucking thing go out a little bit further, so it's not a cliff anymore, right?
So what if you fell off the cliff?
Well, you got to start building a new one.
The good thing about
Well,
for me personally, because my skill set and my name,
Yeah.
if say the government came in here tomorrow and said, you know what, you didn't pay enough taxes last year, we're taking all this shit away from you.
Right.
I can literally lose everything in this shop, and because of my skills, I can make a few phone calls and I can make 10 grand the next month.
exactly.
I'd have to work.
So that's why I'm
my
asking
ass.
that, because a lot of people, I mean, you know, don't be shameful that you go to college or not go to college, or in life, the people that make a difference are the people that have a heart and a soul,
Yeah.
and they won't give up. Whatever task it is, whether you're a college graduate or not,
Yeah.
you don't give up. You're the hardest worker. You may not always be the smartest, but you know how to get things done. I dare say it's called the hustle, right?
It
Whether
is,
you're on
yeah.
the street, whether you're in corporate life,
How fucking dare you, bro?
right? But the people that know the hustle and know how to work hard, and if you can instill that in your children, that's the next generation that's going to come up.
That's the thing that's come up in my life, and we're probably getting too deep into like family shit. But here's the deal. So I'm gonna say this, and maybe you guys have a rhetoric
Perspective on it?
perspective on. There you go. I'm not good with words.
He was a retard.
We're about
Okay,
3
well, now
hours
we're-
in.
3 hours. It says 2.
Yeah, 2 hours and 51 minutes.
So, I started looking into this concept because, you know, with all the things that's been going on with like the race and blah, 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 and there was some good things that were brought up about the fact that like a lot of black families were not able to create a wealth in their family through the generations of like owning property. Like when suburbs became a thing in America, black families were not allowed to buy property in suburbs outside of cities.
Right.
Therefore, maybe somebody in our lineage bought a property outside of Dallas in 1943 or 36, and that property is now worth this much and sold, and you generate family wealth is what I'm talking about, right? And I don't know why I brought black people into that. I'm sorry, but the thing is, what I'm thinking about is like, okay, I look at my family and I look, how could I take whatever it is that I've built here, whatever the fuck it is, how can I generate wealth in my family? How can I make it to where my mom, my brother, the rest of the people in my family can kind of benefit off this wealth that hopefully it'll pass down to his kid or my kids, blah, blah, blah.
Have a family meeting and just say this. Everyone here, I want you all to know this. Money is no object when you don't have any.
That's true.
So
And you're good.
I mean,
What is wealth?
well, you asked me what wealth is. Wealth is me having friends and having family and having what I have. But
Bingo.
it is that. But
I mean, money's nice,
yeah, but
right? When you don't have it, and the
makes
money's
things
nice when you
easier.
have it. Sometimes,
If
sometimes money makes things harder.
Yeah, I guess.
So can you instill a work ethic, a wealth of love, a wealth of family, a wealth of inspiration, and
Put it like this,
can
like-
that next generation be better
So-
than you?
if, like, say for me, right, you can give me 10 grand or 20 grand, or say my aunt dies, I never met her, she's in Idaho, your hometown, and
Close.
she dies, Utah, right?
Yeah, but
so
they're close.
she passes and she has all this
Incestuous over
money
there.
and she gives me some money, and at my age now, if somebody in my family passed and gave me 30 grand, I could turn that 30 grand because of where I'm at in my life and my mental state.
Yeah.
I can turn that 30 grand to a lot of great things.
Right.
Real money, real wealth that I can pass to my kids. Right. But that's something I think about a lot. Like, you know, the house that I live in, my mom, like when if she passes, or obviously she's going to pass, but when she does, what did she leave behind for me and my brother?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think about myself, I have a nice bike. I got a lot of fucking camera equipment. Is
But you know what?
that an asset to leave to my family? Like, is that something like my kids gonna be like, thanks, Dad. I got a fucking Canon Vixia H22, dude.
But you
Appreciate
know what, though?
it.
That's like I raised my kids, my family, my wife and I together. We did this. We did stuff together. We never had a lot of money. We lived. I still don't have like a big savings account where I'm like, I could retire. I better make money, but I don't give a shit. And it's like, maybe that's a bad attitude, but I look at it and go, I raised my kids. I gave them the proper values. They had fun. They had a great life growing up. It's up to them to make their own wealth.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And
I'm not their keeper.
Yeah.
I moved out to California with $800 in my pocket. That was a lot of
You
money.
started a podcast called 180 in a
Right.
Dream.
That was it. And from there, you have to figure it out.
But the thing is my kids are making their own wealth and
They
they're
are.
making their own lives. And in sometimes they've been able to say to me, hey, let me buy you dinner tonight. Let me do this for you. You were great parents.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. So basically, it's not my responsibility to make the wealth for my children.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them the base. Get your own fucking wealth. Leave me alone.
I agree with that. A lot of people. I don't have kids, so it's hard for me to speak on this. But
He's an expert, though.
a lot of
He read the book.
a lot of people try to make things easy for their kids, and
that's bad.
It's not like you. That's not what this world's about. You grow up, you build yourself. You have kids,
It's character.
and then you try to give them the best character possible and make them the best human being
Right.
that they can be when
That's
they
how I
grow
look
up.
at it.
Well, in our household, we put on the refrigerator 2 words: "I can," and we never accepted "I can't." That's not a word that's going to go over in the Anderson
So
household.
one thing that you guys have that me and my brother didn't grow up with is a dad in
Yeah.
the house.
No, but that's
Mom, the meatloaf we want.
but that's true.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, there are great family units and there are shitty ones.
You didn't grow up in a wealthy house, and I didn't
No,
grow up in a
very-
wealthy house. But
We were
guess what? I had
camping and
food.
fishing and river rafting.
Every night there
Yeah.
was food on the table. I had the clothes I needed. I went to the dentist. You know, so it's like my parents. What are they going to leave when they're 87? But they come to work at the warehouse. My mom babysits the kids. This and that. But when they go, they have a house that I'm going to share with 3 other siblings.
Yeah.
That's it. But and we're like, spend your money, live.
Yeah.
Don't save it for me. You live and do your thing.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. You know what I mean? What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, it's like what Vic said the other day at the shop. You know, and kind of what you said, if someone dies and leaves me money, there's a couple options of what you're going to do with it. You can enjoy it, get fucking rid of it because you know you have the skills to make up for what you just not threw
Got
away,
rid
but
of,
enjoyed.
yeah.
Or you can take it and leverage it and whatever, but it's better to have that person enjoy that and not, you can't save your whole life and then just, you got to save your whole life and like actually enjoy yourself.
Dude, I got friends I went to high school with. They have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their 401k, and they're miserable.
Yeah.
And like, you know you have a happy savings over here. Like this money will make you happy if you just use it. If
You can't
just
take it with you when you go.
Yeah, that's like, and he has no kids. He has no wife. He's a perpetual saver. You know
And
what I
none
mean?
of the stuff we have. You know how we all say, "Oh, I got
You're
my
a
house?"
habitual saver.
I have a house.
Yeah.
It's my house.
He asked me.
Guess
A
what?
couple
It's not
months
my
ago.
house.
He asked me a couple months ago. Goes, hey man, just bought this house. He goes down the street from here. He goes, just bought this house, man. Like when you gonna jump in the American dream of ownership? I was like,
That might
Bitch.
be your dream, but that's not my dream.
I love this dude to death, but like when he asked me that, I was like, you know what? You lay down in your bed at night and watch me live the dream that you wish you had.
Right.
You have money. You've definitely got more money than I do, and you're in a way better, smarter financial situation. But at the end of the day, like your bank account and how good it looks on your fucking phone does not like you can't post that online.
No, but you can't. The
Oh, I
house you
do
think
every
is
day.
yours, and you say, "This is my house." One day, someone else is going to be living in that house, saying, "This is my house."
Watch out now.
Right?
Kentucky,
Watch
8%.
out, man.
We got more, right? You got some?
And back to what you said about
Maybe poo.
like wealth. What is
No, I drank
wealth?
the last one. There's nothing left.
I'll tell you, what is wealth to you? I can't speak on that. I'm wealthy in a lot of ways, but financially maybe not. But
Are they not
By-
paying
by
enough? You need to
definition-
kind of move to Texas.
Yeah, raise.
Is that your way of asking for a raise?
by definition, wealth is
Jeez.
time. So if you have someone that they're living that American dream, they got
Yeah.
the house, the kids, the car, this and that, and they make 12 grand a month, but they owe 9,900 for bills. If they lose their job, they only got
They're done.
3 months
Yeah.
of survival. But if you're living a simple life with good things in your life and
Yeah.
good family and this and that, and I'm not even going to lay out numbers because I can't think of them at the moment. But you have time
This moment
you
is
have
brought by
time
pickle beer
in your
from
life to figure
Best
that
Made.
out. And you're not over, extending yourself in any ways, and you're
Well,
almost more
I
wealthy
think
than
what
you
it boils
have
down
double.
to, what you're saying and what we're all talking about, is that when it comes to like living this lifestyle of being the 2-lane life or living the fast life.
Hey, look at that. Living the fast
There you
lane on
go.
the 2-lane.
So like this whole idea of traveling with your friends and enjoying America, jerk off motion, all the fun things to do on bikes in this world, right? We're all making sacrifices. Whether you're at 50 or you're 40 or you're 30 or 20, like we're making sacrifices to enjoy this shit, to have those pictures on the wall or have these vlogs to inspire other people, whatever the case may be. And it is what it is, man. Like if it must be nice is the only thing you can say to us for living this life, then you need to think about your own life a little bit harder and figure out where you can trim the fat and figure out how you can get on the road, and maybe you can figure out how to be a better fucking friend to inspire friends of yours to go do this shit, or just realize that those friends are never going to do anything else and start looking
Move
for new
on.
ones.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm riding home tonight. See you, Lance.
It's going to be a long ride.
It's going to be a long ride,
2 miles, dude.
right?
2 miles.
We're going to LA.
I mean, you're only like.
No, I'm going to LA.
60
You two are
miles.
laying back here.
That's not bad.
No, it's life is a journey, right?
Yeah.
Stroke it.
Well,
You got to go for it.
Yeah. Stroke.
Stroke it. I like doing these over the laptop. We're not
It's
as
a little bit different, right?
figurative
Like you're
on
in
the-
here, you're like you feel forced to keep drinking and being a fucking.
Oh,
like,
no. It's never forced to keep drinking.
Sorry, Mom.
My favorite
She'll
part
never
is
hear
just
this.
been progressively watching you all get drunker.
I'm just like,
Like the
I'm just.
conversations are like, oh, we're going there now.
I mean,
Oh,
I really, I never thought I'd come to Fast Life and have a, Oprah
therapy?
Winfrey
Yeah.
therapy session with Chase.
Hey, it's okay because if I was drinking, you guys would have got to see some fucking family feud.
I don't see any holes in the drywall. Right? Yeah.
His name's not Kyle.
Kyle.
But I'll tell you
Where's the
this.
fucking fridge?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I don't know you other than a podcast, and you ran through him, and I met you at Sturgis.
Yeah.
But you're real,
Fucking right, I'm real.
right? And
Here
and
to real.
and I appreciate that.
Cheers,
Right?
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, you welcome us in your house. We appreciate
Dude,
that.
from day one, when like I said, we maybe this is the part where we're drunk. We say the same things
Yeah,
over
I love
again.
it.
yeah.
Keep going.
Like I said, I knew when I first transitioned.
What are we talking about here?
Can you clarify
There's
that?
no other way to fucking say this. When I first
It used to be
transitioned,
Jennifer.
I was riding a big wheel and I wanted to build a fucking a dyna. I wanted to build a dyna. I was working in NorCal a lot, painting bikes up there, and I saw the dyna culture. I was like, this is badass. I want to build a dyna and ride it at home. So I was in NorCal, laying in bed making shit tons of money because you Californians don't know what to do with your money, and
His
and-
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, looking for things online. And this is 2016. I was like looking for parts to buy, blah blah blah. And I bought a fucking Trashin pipe. That was one of the original pipes that I really liked the way it looked on my bike. So I bought that pipe, rode the bike, blah blah blah. I never was like. At that point in time, I had followers on Instagram, but I wasn't playing this whole like influencer thing. So I was never like, hey, Lance, I'm Jace from the Fast Life. You should sponsor me because I'm fucking a big thing and I
I'm
drink
transitioning.
Montuckies. I'm transitioning.
From Jennifer to this boot job.
So
From
I bought
Bennifer.
that pipe and I ran it for the time I had that bike, and it was like my first pipe into the game. And then obviously at that time Trashin was a very small company versus what it is now. Like at the time they had the pipe and I think they had a couple other small parts. It was nothing major.
And
right?
T-shirts.
Yeah, it was a very small company at the time.
Apparel.
And then fast forward 2 years later, I'm on this ride and I just fucking throw a Hail Mary out there because like I said, for a guy like me in Texas, like I have nothing to offer Lance, right? I have everything to gain from Lance being on my podcast, 100%. At that time when we did it. Now, as time goes by, maybe the pendulum swings a little bit, and there's a perspective that he can gain from being on here versus the other. But while being there, like I obviously clicked more with Big Lance because we do this like more cross country riding. That's more of our thing. And now here we are a year and a half later partying in Waxahachie. You have you figured it out?
Wakapaki.
Wakapaki?
A handful of
Wakapaki.
times wrong, and I almost enjoy it more that way. But
I used to call there's this part of NorCal called I'm fucking it up right now.
triangle, or is it?
No, it's by Brentwood. It's called
Brentwood.
Brentwood.
there's a-
Brentwood's not.
No, there's a
far
Brent.
north.
There's a
There's a
Brentwood.
Brentwood
There's a
in
Brentwood
NorCal.
in Northern California.
It's it starts with an A, and I used to call it something fucking funny. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna figure it-
Alameda.
Alhambra? I don't know. Research is happening.
Antioch.
Oh,
So
An-
Antioch. I used to call it Antioch.
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 Well, it's like him with Amarillo, whatever.
For real.
Well, Sepulveda.
Amarillo by name.
When people don't live there and you tell them, and they read Sepulveda, they go Sepulveda.
Well, it's like Chesbro and Cheesebro.
Yeah.
You got some cheese, bro? Yeah.
So anyway,
So the thing is, like,
Chill, man.
How'd I know you were?
I don't know what
there?
that's random beer.
That's some shit. Saxon.
Saxon list.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like I love the way this dynamic worked because I felt like I connected with the 2 Lane Life dudes way more You know what I mean? Like I said, I didn't grow up in dirt bikes. I didn't grow up in that world.
Right.
My first connection to Trashin was an exhaust that he made for Dynas, versus if I would have been a dude that grew up in the early 2000s watching Lance do these freestyles, these X Games. I never was into that. I never grew up with that.
Right.
So as much as I was there to see Lance do this, I was also like, your dad's kind of cool. And I'm glad this is dope, man. I want to push this narrative because I also think that little Lance, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
All right. Baby.
No, it's funny because everyone used to call me Big Lance and him Little Lance. I've never called him Little Lance, but now I call his son Little Lance. Interesting. I don't know why, but
so what I think is going to happen, because I think maybe, how old is Lance?
he's 30.
He's 30, so he's still younger than me. I still think that he is going to be, if he already is, I think that he's going to be a force of nature in the Harley industry over the next 20 to 30 years, along with what we're doing, along with what you're doing.
Right. New blood. They need the young blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so
Cole are pushing it pretty hard.
I think that he's going to be doing that, and we're going to be doing this shit. And I think that as of right now, I think that what you guys are doing resonates the hardest, right? Because what he's doing is he's making this fucking concrete foundation that's like 14 feet thick, right? He's got this fucking background. He's got all the things, but you guys are doing this thing that like really fucking resonates with the now. You know, I think he's still building his foundation right now.
No.
I don't mean that in any bad way.
Well, that's disrespectful to us.
No, what I mean
I'm
is
just
like
teasing. So you're absolutely right. I mean, and there's no doubt in my mind that some of the ability for us to get through to some of the people that are supporting us is directly through him and through the vibe that's been going on for a number of years with some of these companies, right? Lance is just, he's on the cusp and he'll continue to grow.
Yeah.
He's got an entrepreneurial attitude about it. He's not going to give up. And he looks at things differently. He doesn't look at, he knows if he wants this, he can grow this to get this.
yeah.
And that's his focus is laser focused.
For us, we've gone to a bunch of the trade shows, the drag shows, and worked the Trashin booth, and we talked to people. So him and I kind of got entrenched in the industry.
Yeah.
Whether it's Brian Clockworks, Jesse from Legend Suspension,
Rob at Saddleman or Dave at Saddleman. But
yeah, all the guys that we've been partners with that have been kind of along with us from this starting of this journey, before the journey.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
And consciously we've thought about, are we so tight at the hip with Trashin? But it's a benefit to us. At the same time, we also have to separate and create our own brand.
Yeah.
Right. And so we're kind of in the.
I'm in the same boat. I'm in
Yeah.
the same boat with my friends. That group behind you. I'm in that same boat because there is this like Fast Life Garage narrative that helps push that thing.
Right.
But
Right.
it's not when we get together and we ride bikes. It's not Fast Life Garage anymore.
Right.
It's like whoever the Weasels. Is that we?
That's taken, by the way.
We were trying to be the Weasels because
There's a group MC club called the Weasels.
I didn't like the Weasels. I didn't
I'm
like
telling
it.
you.
We were in a Durango hot
You know
tub.
what eats hamsters?
Yeah.
Weasels.
That's what we were trying. We were in Durango.
How many hamsters is your weasel eating?
Hey, as many as it needs to. Made this shit up in New Mexico on the way back.
No, we were
from
in
Sturgis.
fucking Durango at the hot tub in that hotel.
we was in
Yeah.
Durango,
So I don't know, man.
But
What-
I think for us, I think there's a segment that needs what we're doing right now, and I think there's an ability for us over the next 5-10 years to grow into a place where,
I think we're actually part of the getting people to know how great riding a motorcycle is. We're part of that movement of getting people back.
you're
into
re-showing
Travel,
people. They
get
forgot.
out.
Yeah.
They forgot because people didn't focus on the riding anymore. They focused on the amount of money in the bike, right?
and I hate COVID, but at the same time, when we launched this, we didn't let that get in our way, and maybe it's helped our channel a little bit because people are stuck at the house.
Yeah.
And they're starting to search for things.
What is it? Biden water? Is that what they were drinking?
Biden water?
They were drinking
It's
that?
2 Lane Life water. Is
I mean,
what they're drinking.
hence the name 2 Lane Life. Get back out on the.
Yeah.
Get on the 2 lanes. Go
Yeah.
find your place. You know.
Yeah. I
Go for it.
go ahead. I
Well,
fucking
that's something to speak on between, as we were saying, talking about different demographics. Whereas a lot of the people that might have been watching were, say, 45 or older, and the people that were way into spending the money on the bikes and this and that to have the best bike were younger like me. But now, I started riding bikes, ripping the canyons, doing this and that. Now I do both, but I've transitioned to seeing the other side
You
of things.
transitioned too?
Yeah.
There we go. We're both spending
We've
money
got
on
2 transitioners.
leave me hanging. There you go. But
2
now being
trannies.
able to see the other side of things, where it's like there's a whole nother world of being able to experience things on 2 wheels. I mean, like you said, there's a difference between driving through the Grand Canyon, waiting in line, and this and that, being in a car, versus being in 28 degrees and 10 different layers and leather gloves and seeing that snow on the road and seeing stuff you
seeing it
wouldn't
from that
see if you weren't
perspective,
going
yeah.
out there
But
from a different perspective.
yeah, but the whole thing of building it and doing it's a lot of hard work.
it is,
I mean, we have a full-time job now, but a good one.
For sure.
And we're building it. We have relationships with the companies that that we run with. But building it, marketing, trying to get people to our website for sales, making good videos, doing all that. It's being away from the families on
Yeah.
trips,
And we don't want to put bad shit out. We
Yeah.
want good quality content.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like why I get requests from people that listen to podcasts all day long about you should talk to my cousin in Oklahoma or Alabama. He's smart.
Alabama, he's smart.
He has stories. I'm like, all right,
like
man.
him,
Like
yeah.
what? My thing is like this. Like I have a connection with you guys because we share the 2-lane vibe, right?
travel.
Right.
We travel on bikes, right? And I feel like in the Midwest, I struggle with this because I feel like we're the Midwest, but we're not technically.
Right, right.
the
Texas is
Midwest.
not considered Midwest.
We're
Definitely south.
I think yeah, okay.
Isn't Texas its own place?
That's how I want to
Like,
say
that's
it.
what I would
so
say.
from our own sovereign nation here.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the only flag that can
I feel
fly
like
as high as the American flag.
You guys put out the vibe that I've been preaching for years, and I feel like that like I just want to like if maybe you can't swallow me, right? You can't swallow my vibe. I'm not talking about that.
Transition, swallow,
Before or after transition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can't take my perspective. Like maybe I'm too harsh for you. Maybe I'm too brash, if you will, with my delivery because I'm not very sympathetic to people in their
I get what you're saying.
There was.
they're like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like
You can't want.
I'm like,
What's your excuse?
why are you telling me you want sympathy from me because I don't give a shit.
No.
I'm gonna. You can also be right here today with the 2-Lane Life and the Fast Life podcast right now. If you do Fast Life podcast and 2-Lane Life shit,
Right.
do it. Get out
I
there,
mean,
be
we-
your own
Be
self.
about it.
Yeah, we
And
did.
I'll be like, dude, you're doing badass shit. I gotta have you on the podcast. I want. Where'd you come from? Where'd your mindset come from? I'll do that. But if you ain't doing this shit, don't expect to have this kind of fucking response. You know what I mean?
The handout.
And that's kind of the thing. It's like so when I look forward, I look at like, okay, I don't really have a relationship with Lance. I don't have a relationship with a lot of people in Cali, but I do have some with some, and I kind of play on that because they respect what I'm doing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm a custom painter, and I go to fucking Cali and bring other custom painters on that do the same thing I do. That threw them for a loop. Like,
Yeah.
why is he giving me all his
Promoting or,
attention that he has?
Right.
And I was like, man, here's the deal. I have a style. You have a style. You do something cool. I think that for the listeners out there, if they like what you do, they should go to you.
Then they should go to you.
You know what I mean? So going forward, like with a podcast, with all the things that we do, I think it's about. I would like to start to develop a relationship with your son, with the brand of Trashin, or with the fueling guys and all these other guys going forward, because my podcast ain't going anywhere. I'm making enough money to keep pushing it, right? So I would like to start bringing, like, I don't, like Lance, we text, Galen, we text, we have a relationship, right? Like where we can like bust each other's balls.
Right.
I don't have that with your son yet. I feel like I might offend him with some shit I said.
You can never offend him because
Maybe not, but
his personality is people take him the wrong way because he'll call you out, but in a funny way.
But that's what I want. That's what I want to expose in this podcast.
Right.
That's why when you guys are here doing this and these people are seeing these, like, dude, this fucking, look at this. No, wait. You can't see that video. There's fucking blue cans everywhere over here. When people see that, they see that we're real. We're real dudes.
Right.
We're just
right. No, but we get that all the time.
Yeah.
You're real guys, and we trust what you say.
But at the same time, on that same vibe, I mean, the guys that we hang out with
Are real people.
true.
I mean,
because
even
of who you guys are, I trust whoever.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know Lance very well. I know he has a lot of shit on his plate,
yeah.
and I just feel like we vibe because we are doing this shit in a very similar fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It's a hard thing because he's got his wife and kids. He's got his house. He's building his business. He gets hit from all angles.
yeah, and I don't want to be the angle.
No,
I just want to be.
But it's like once
be
you
escape.
like even with Josh, he comes into our world, and Lance is usually like, but now he's in. Even Lance is like, oh yeah, Josh is cool. You're like, if he was around you a couple times, it changes.
Yeah.
Because
Can I
Jace
call him-
rides.
can I
Oh,
call
he's
him
gonna.
gay.
Huh?
Can I say like, dude, you're being gay right now?
And he would
Take
laugh.
it.
And he would laugh.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
that's
and something
No.
about that, back to what you were saying about fueling and all those other dudes, and what you were saying about the operation that's going on between the two companies and more, and all this family environment. I come from a background where before doing stuff for myself and working for other people, I'm doing all these other things, going to school, and now I come here where it's just a whole big family. I'm over at the Tulane office, and I walk next door and talk to Rob at Trashin, and I see George, his dad, and I see Laura, his wife, and I see little Lance, and it's just this whole big family operating and working towards this common goal. And then when we go to Sturgis, all these guys from different companies and brands and mindsets are coming together, and we all got the same mindset, we all got the same goal, and we're all pushing towards positivity and just doing
Yeah,
putting
exactly.
good
That's a
things
good
into the
example.
world, you know?
Like we race down the mountain in a canyon, and wherever these guys pass, we're racing hardcore. They're not getting away from us, and we're not. And we get down to the bottom of the hill, we all pull over, and it's like the Vance and Hines guys, and they're talking to Luke, and it's like all of a sudden we all know each other, and we're hanging out. You know?
Whoa.
No, you're good.
You're okay.
Ruined. No, it's fine.
No, I know what you're saying, man. It, like that is kind of probably the benefit of being in California, though. Like with a for lack of a better term, a cesspool of fucking bikers. Right.
So many
Like you got a good opportunity there, but what this is blending of the different demographics of like the Texas, the Midwest.
Right.
Where the fuck we are, South,
you- I
just
Midwest.
said South,
But I mean,
man.
even-
we're just Texas. We're
But
all
even like
thing.
Brian Clock,
Yeah.
like I know he heard that we were going to be doing a podcast. He was like, "Oh, that's good," you know, like he thought that was
we are calendar buddies.
cool. right.
We are calendar
Yes,
buddies.
we are.
Yeah.
You got the Monument Valley picture though. That's cool.
I did. That is right.
That
Yeah.
was dope.
Well, there's family
They did.
businesses.
I think there was Cheetos in there. I had a bag of hot Cheetos on myself.
I like the chili ones, you know, the Fritos.
The Frito chili.
Yeah.
I love. I think it's. I don't know. I love the.
the spice and the.
I like where shit's going.
Yeah.
I really enjoy where shit's going because
That's good.
now that like we're all starting to kind of like have this like intertwined like when we pulled up to the One-Eyed Jacks and you guys were there, immediate like
Yeah,
like it was
exactly.
like
Shit.
That was the funniest thing. I'm sitting there and I'm with the boys, and it's like I said, new group and everything. Sitting at the bar, I order a drink, and some dude, it might have been. Is there someone in the group that he's blonde and he rides a blue bike?
Dragon.
That might be him. I don't know.
You got tattoos together.
Someone came up and was, "Oh, you listen to podcasts?" And all? I'm like, I don't know. And something clicked in my head because they mentioned you guys before. And I'm
What kind
like,
of a big deal?
it was kind of a big deal, but I was like,
In the Midwest.
yeah, you from Fast Life? Oh, yeah. And right off the bat, we were chill.
Yeah.
You know, because there was something in common there, and
Yeah.
it's a good time.
But see, it even gets like this next year in Sturgis. If we're all hanging out somewhere, it's going to be even different. It's going to be better because now we
Yeah.
all really, you know.
I think we
know about
I think
your
we became best
transition.
friends, so
We
now
know
we
about
all have
this
to party
transition.
together. Yeah,
Although we're not going over to your campsite because you're transitioning.
yeah. If you want to come to our campsite and see a bunch of saggy tits and eat some,
Had them installed surgically during your transition.
We might need to get a house next to each other.
I don't know.
The barbecue would be big.
Yeah, right.
The house thing doesn't. It's not a bad idea. It's just
yeah.
So
just
for us,
not-
like we push this camping narrative, and so this campsite at Sturgis this year was like our core group, but then there was these people from all over the country that came and camped with us, and
Right.
some of them not with us, but on the same campground,
Right.
which kind of makes it awkward because they're all like walking up like, "I listen to your podcast,"
Right.
and I'm like, "Thanks," and it's just kind of like it's a weird vibe, but like there's a
Camp with us.
the camping thing is easy. It's like you
But
know.
you're going to get that. I mean, every single state we've been in on our vlogs 1, 2, 3.
Well, today at Cooper's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that dude that was like?
he
like,
walked up and said, "I follow you guys," and he's part of the performance bagger.
I'm pissed off about that.
So we're traveling. People are-
Performance bagger? You trying to piss me off right now?
No, that's what he said.
my own town?
Wasn't a performance bagger
he built some bikes at Sturgis.
I heard him say
for
something
the
about
shows.
his bike
Yeah,
did like 176 horsepower or something.
But he's,
over 200.
he does
That's
big
all I'm
wheels.
going to
No,
say.
that was the dude at the Coopers, right? That he
Yeah.
walked up
Yes.
to you guys specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
but
Fuck that guy.
we have people come up to us and say, "Hey, 2-lane life." I mean, just like the guy rode up. Then the weird thing is that guy that you saw ride up and talk to us.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we get
In my
a
town, yeah.
message of a guy that goes, "I was on the zip line in Williams and heard that guy," and I went, "Oh wow, that's the 2-lane life guy." So I'm going to go meet him, but he didn't work out.
Yeah.
Social media. But here's the jam, okay? So you do your camp out, and if you need the bubble bath, come on over to the house, Jace. We'll take care of you, baby.
Fuck with you. I'll take your
He's
bubble
bougie
bath.
sometimes.
Hey, we had a cabin in Deadwood.
You want to arm wrestle? I'll fuck you up,
No, we're
Galen.
gonna do the slap. I want to do
Cabin in
that thing.
Deadwood. It was like
That would be badass.
3 stories.
Yeah.
We all had our own bedrooms. It was just like this amazing.
nice.
Here we go with the camera again.
Yeah. You're too animated.
Yeah.
You need to
Amazing
switch seats.
barbecue, and we walked down the street, and Jesse from Legend, his house is right. We all like it was great.
Yeah.
You know, that's the fun.
That's the
part.
thing about Sturgis. Like I, you know, when you decide like I'm this biker person for life, Sturgis is like Christmas.
For sure.
You can't skip out on it. Like you have to plan your whole life around Sturgis. Maybe Sturgis some years might be a rip up and rip back vibe, like a 4-day weekend.
But you have
type
to
thing.
go.
I have to.
Right.
I can't not be there.
Right. And that's how we feel. It's like before you know it, it's going to be August again.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the weird thing is we're planning all these trips, like trying to figure out the best ones, and the big core group of us can't go to Sturgis every year, and they're probably not going to want to.
They're fired.
Scram.
Find new friends.
If you can't go to Sturgis, you're out.
Yeah.
But we look at this big trip, like, so with our core group, like let's just say like 6 guys, right? They can pull off 2 weeks a year somewhere,
Right.
right? And if I was like, all right, let's just do Sturgis every year 2 weeks, it's going to burn them out. But there's this big country, they all want to see all this other shit, so we have to find this 2-week narrative to push towards the Northeast or the Northwest or the Southwest or Southeast, and figure out how to like make this shit different and give enough years to where like you ready to do another 2-week trip to Sturgis again? Like if I did that next year, like we just did Yellowstone, Sturgis, I don't want to do that this year.
Right.
I'm going to be in Sturgis next year, so I'll make sure that when we plan this trip, it's not like July 19th or 20th or whatever, and I got to be in Sturgis in 2 weeks.
Right.
I'll
that's
plan
part
a
of
trip.
the thing we
try to
struggle with
piggyback
too.
off of Sturgis.
Yeah.
Like maybe we go maybe we hit Sturgis and go east this year instead of going west.
We went home and then
we're
went to
going-
Four Corners Rally.
We're
right?
going to Sturgis for sure, but like what we're struggling with now is what we have not really been until Route 66 and this ride. We have not spent a lot of time.
It's hard for you, though.
East of
It's hard
really
for you guys to do
Colorado.
that.
We put
A long ways to go.
Sure.
Long ways to go.
We had a conversation today. I mean, there's YouTubers that, whether it's talking or tips on how to clean your bike or fix this or fix that. I mean, we're putting out travel videos every week because we're traveling all the time and stacking up these files and this and that. And you can kind of diversify in different things,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm not
We're going to do a whole
really
series that
about
we're
travel.
going to be stuck in Arizona for 1 year.
Yeah.
We're just going to
I'm
keep
down. I'll
going.
dip out. I'll stay out there, you know.
Y'all like Arizona, huh?
I'm going to move there one day.
Really?
Why?
Hell yeah.
I think
Northern Arizona.
I haven't, of course we crossed through Arizona going to Monument Valley, but I would really like to adventure through central, southern
Bisbee,
Arizona.
man. I want to do
Bisbee's
Bisbee.
awesome.
You guys turned me on to Bisbee, and
Tombstone.
I haven't been yet.
We'll meet you there.
I want to hit
I
Tombstone.
want to do it. It's a weird out of the convenient spot, and it's like it's a part of Arizona that nobody fucking knows
Right.
about.
Copper mining town. It's like amazing.
It's east of Tombstone, right?
It's
Yes.
east and south.
Southern, yeah.
Southeast.
It's so not on the map.
Well,
No.
we came around the corner. The guys in Tucson Harley said, "Oh, you're going down to Tombstone? Go to Bisbee." We're like, "All right." So we came around the corner over this mountain, and we were like, "Whoa!" This city all over, small town,
Yeah.
all over the side of the mountain, and they're old buildings, and it's great.
St. Elmo's.
Sounds cool.
St. Elmo's Bar. I mean,
So I want to do like I've done Globe North on. There's a pass going
Yeah.
up through the mountains. I've done that. I want to do Bisbee for sure. I've
Yeah.
done Tombstone. I've been there
Okay.
before. But I also want to do like Jerome, Payson. I haven't that Prescott that between
Oh, it's awesome.
Flagstaff and Phoenix. I've never spent a
Have you
lot
been
of time
in
there.
Sedona?
No.
oh, dude,
I've done
amazing.
Phoenix a million times. Everything around Phoenix. I've done Flagstaff. I've done all the Monument Valley, all that shit in between.
You got to do Jerome. You got to do Sedona.
I haven't
you got
done
to do
that.
Prescott.
Yep.
You
wanna
can't
do
say
it.
Prescott. You got to say Prescott.
Prescott. Yeah,
Roasted.
it's it's
That would
like
be
I said
vlog number
for
4.
us Texas travelers. We're going like the goal's never to Arizona. Like Arizona's a pass through
It's like
state
Cali.
to California.
It's bitchin'. It's got a lot of beauty there. Go look at our Prescott. Prescott.
Prescott.
hey.
There you go. You're
He almost messed up.
Yeah, almost.
prospect.
Prospect.
I'll say that though, like I said, I haven't spent much time in Texas. I've spent less time in Arizona, and through this trip, I've seen more cool shit like in Arizona that I want to almost consider just moving there.
Yeah.
You know, like
Cause that cool.
oh,
You know, you should just move to
Canyons, though.
Texas.
I'll see you next week, brother.
It's
But
mine.
you don't understand that unless you travel and go see it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so
The part about all this traveling shit, though, like like the house that me and my wife are living in right now, like we're planning to sell it after we fix it up in the next 4 years. And I love Dallas. Like I showed you guys around Dallas today. Like I have a pride here because there's something that's special about it. But like I don't want to live here anymore.
Right.
I want to move. I want to wake up every day and see a mountain.
You
That
can
makes
do
sense.
that in Arizona. Look at the San Francisco peaks with snow on them.
I want that vibe. There you go, hit the camera again.
Just rubbing it gently.
You just like fondling it.
Yeah.
like caress.
Did you get permission? Did you get a consent form?
Yes. Yes.
Did you sign the
Are
liability?
you fingering my camera?
Lance.
All right, we're fucking 3 hours and 3 hours.
Yes, we are.
Try again. Try
3.5
again.
hours.
So you can be the fast life on the 2-lane life.
And we appreciate your hospitality. We ran
Dude,
through the city tonight,
so-
and I got the mobbing on the.
You did?
So
we
we'll
got
see
some
how that
great
turns
footage.
out.
John, I'm just so glad you guys came here. I mean, like you're doing a lot for us to show Texas. I mean, I know a lot of you Californians are flocking here because it's better, but but here's the deal: like Texas has a good vibe. It really does. We don't have the clickbait shit. You know what I mean? We don't have the That's not fair to say clickbait, but it
Well,
sounded
some
good.
people do use clickbait a lot.
It's not fair to say that all the amenities of California is clickbait, but it sounds good to me right now. So I'm gonna run with it.
You're gonna run with that.
So we have a good vibe here. We got good people. We have a small enough scene where everybody fucking works together,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like in Cali you have a lot of different chiefs and not enough Indians, if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah.
And that's kind of there's an analogy for that because that's a common thing because everybody wants to be the chief of shit. And here in Texas, we still have enough Indians, for lack of a better term, that are following along with what the chiefs are trying to put on the table for people. And you guys coming here, showing Texas on your channel is a good thing for us. And I hope that I'm going to experience the sisters with you guys. I haven't done it yet.
That's going to be
I've
great.
only done one of the three, right? And so I'm going to do it with you guys. I think it's gay, personally.
It might be.
It might be. But I've also ridden some of the best roads in America before I ride the ones down the street.
Right.
You know, so we'll see.
Well,
that
you're the
together.
one that asked us to do the Twisted Sisters.
Here's the deal.
I'm just kidding you, man.
I got panicky when you said you're coming to Texas. Like, oh, Twisted Sisters. I heard it's great.
Right. Is it a waste of time?
I don't know. We'll find out.
well,
You
let's
haven't
go.
done it?
I've only done one of them.
So there's three.
There's three of them.
Are we doing all three?
I don't know. These bitches are crazy.
If I lay my bike down on some gravel, you can paint it.
It's
You're not laying your bike down.
Well, if you're
So I heard they put some chip on it or something, huh?
it's just so the road falls, you know, a big, I don't want to call it mountain, a big hill or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and you know it's real rocky down there. Not a lot of trees. It's like just real rocky. So like the rocks crumble
And they get down on the road.
It just falls all over the road. So it's just, a month and a half ago, I come back from Big Bend area, and I did one of the Three Sisters
Right.
from south to north, and honestly, it was terrible.
Yeah.
because it was just the whole road.
It was
covered in
paving or it
gravel.
was just the...
It's I mean, it's just they're just
No, it was the
loose-
paving or it was loose impediments from the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's
just like.
It's just loose gravel.
Because someone
all
had said
over.
that they were repaving one of them. It was closed and
What was the road that they were warning us about leaves?
that was on it, but it was going under a...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wrightwood, the whole mountain's there. It's rocks
Don't worry
all
about
over the
leaves.
place.
Yeah.
So are we
Yeah.
wasting our time going down there? Should we go north?
I no, I think y'all need to see the hill country. Like that's one of the gems of Texas.
Yeah.
But I mean, not saying we have to do the Three Sisters, but I mean, I guess we should do it.
I think we should try one.
we're so close, you know.
And if we like the
There's
first
three
sister, we'll
sisters,
try
you
the
gotta try
second
one.
sister.
Yeah,
Right.
right, exactly.
That's how it works.
Right?
If y'all ever get back to Texas, though, y'all have to do a Big Bend trip.
Well, we were in Texas last 2 weeks ago.
I mean, we'll be back.
Yeah,
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks
A
ago.
long ways from our
And-
So tell
And
me where...
how's this?
Where's Big Bend?
Big Bend is Southwest Texas.
Okay.
So it's pretty much the part that I'm talking about is the you know, the Rio Grande
Yeah.
splits border between Texas and Mexico,
Uh-huh.
and that so they would have been if you it's probably 300 miles from here,
Right.
But if you go straight west, like where like Midland, Odessa,
Yeah.
all that is, it's about
You
100,
catch part of that?
150 miles south of there.
Got it.
There's damn mountains and shit out there for
Okay.
Texas. Like it's weird. Like
I mean, we could all ride to Williams tomorrow.
So,
Yeah, right.
look, we're doing the kickstand up tomorrow at 9, right?
Yeah, the kickstand's up at 9. What are we talking about?
So then we're going to go up to Los Coyotes or
Los
what?
Coyotes.
Loco Coyote.
Did you roll
Loco
your tongue?
Coyote. I don't know. I didn't roll it, but
If you get
Los
in-
Coyotes. Yeah.
Arriba!
No, it's.
I think you just hit the camera.
yeah, right.
I did.
I'm glad because that means that, you know.
And then we're going to head down to what? Like Bandera or something?
So we were looking at the map. It's like there's a couple different ways we go down. I haven't done the route we're going to do tomorrow, but 281 is a very It's a very good alternative to 35 here in here the north to south thing. I think we're going to end up going through Fredericksburg, which is a cool German town.
Wineries, we talked about it.
I don't really know what's out there. I don't know what interests people, right?
Is there anything that y'all heard about in Texas that y'all just like want to see? Or I know Texas is huge.
I just heard everything's bigger in Texas.
That's right.
That's all I know.
Bigger problems.
I think whatever we see will be interesting.
I think it'll be cool. I mean, Montucky's
Y'all
are
heard
good.
of Luckenbach though, right?
Luckenbach.
Let's go to Luckenbach, Texas.
I think
with
y'all
Waylon
need,
and
I told Jace, I was like, I think y'all need
We
to
should
see
definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's small.
It's a good picture. It's like they have a post office that's been there forever, and that's pretty much all you're doing. It's
Get
like
the picture.
it's an Instagram
people,
photo
like,
kind of thing.
It's very small, very primitive, but it's a cool spot. It's a very famous spot.
What if you want to really look at like what we're going to be riding through? Maybe, like I said, Fredericksburg definitely, because it's kind of like an extension of Austin.
Yeah.
If you went Fredericksburg to Austin, you would never feel like you were out of Austin. You know what I mean? Because that city's growing so much, and all the outskirts are turning into like Napa Valley.
Yeah.
So it's wineries everywhere. There's fucking winery fields. There's a lot of growth taking place in Texas right now that is kind of like, we don't really know what to call it. It's just like,
It's called the White Flight out of California.
Yeah, get the hell out of Dodge.
get the hell out of Dodge. You ever been to Dodge City yet?
I've been to Dodge City.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We did that this year.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go there. Me and
Is
Jesse.
that Reno-ish?
No, it's at Kansas City.
Yeah.
Okay.
So me and Jesse, the same camp out that we went to in a couple of years ago when I was on the FXR, we camped next to these old dudes. One was out of Kingman, Arizona.
Yeah.
And the other one was out of like
We were at Sturgis camping, and then I don't remember where the fuck the other guy was from.
The one dude is from Texas, but he moved to SoCal, like San Diego area, to work in like a electric company kind of vibe, like putting power lines up. And then he retired. One was in Kingman, one was in SoCal. A few different dudes in different parts of the country. Well, one dude was on the FXR, and I was on my FXR. That's how we became talking. And he pulls up. It's different. He's old. He was 74, 73. Yeah. He rode his bike from Kingman, Arizona to Dodge City to meet up with these other dudes he used to work with in this like factory they worked in together. Mm-hmm. And this was like their last year riding in Sturgis together. They did it like 4 or 5 times before in the 90s, early 2000s, and this was the last one, which was the 2017.
Yeah, it was 2017. Yeah.
Right? These motherfuckers, man. They went the same campground we went to this year, right? And the one I'm telling people to go to next year. These motherfuckers went to the bar and bought 12 packs and came back. And me and Jess were like, we're going to outdrink these motherfuckers. Dude. These old fucking dudes just drank us under the table, telling us stories about life and Sturgis back in the day. And like, I couldn't even I was like, it's like when you're trying to get the jump rope when everybody's like in schoolyard, you're like, it's my turn. And then somebody comes in and just fucking does this shit. I couldn't even get in, man. Like, we just had to listen to this dude's story. They were fucking awesome. And now every time I go to Kingman, I think about this motherfucker.
Yeah, that dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love that. And I just, if I don't ever become anything else other than this fucking dumbass dude on a podcast drinking Montuckies, I just hope that when they hear things like Monument Valley, they think, man, there's this dumbass motherfucker that used to ride bikes. What was his name?
Talks about Monument Valley all the time.
He drank beer a lot, said gay and fag a lot, and transitioning and
Jennifer.
And wants to conceive a child.
Yeah, conceive a child there.
Produce a child.
There's that shit is what I love, man. I love that shit. And I don't know.
Well, we find it all the time in the towns where you listen to people and their stories, and it's wild.
Yeah.
And you don't get that without traveling.
No.
You don't. Yeah.
You don't get that traveling to the Ritz-Carlton. You get that downtown, the Lodge in Williams and the Canyon Club.
Getting kicked by a fucking donkey.
Yeah.
A pregnant
Camping in
America.
Dude, you don't
Camping in
fucking fondle
Sturgis.
donkeys, bro.
I didn't fondle her. She was pregnant.
You did put your arm around her.
Yeah.
You went like this.
We
and she
said,
went,
hey, let's go take this video. Don't worry, they don't kick their
Well, time out. I said they don't kick. Right? I didn't expect you to go put your arm up on her back and try to do a little.
Camera and said, take a video. All he said was go. So the donkey started walking away. So I just went, and then all of a sudden I get double kicked on both legs. Both legs. I get fucked up.
But the bartender said also, she goes, "Oh, that's Sadie,
forgot
and
to
she's
tell you,
she's
yeah, she's
pregnant.
pregnant.
She's a bitch."
But I was only bruised up for a couple of days, and now it makes for a fucking legendary story.
Yeah,
And a
exactly.
funny video. So
Nobody's talking about how great the story, that great the day was riding. Like, oh, it was great.
it was great.
We hit all the gas stops on time.
Yeah.
Nobody had any issues.
Well, when I was a river guide, they used to always say the people that had a fun ride down the river don't have the stories. The person that fell out of the boat that has the stories.
True.
That's true.
Same thing.
All right, we got to wrap it up, man.
All right,
It's
man.
almost 4 hours.
Thank you.
You talk
Two-Lane
too
Life.
much.
TwoLaneLife.com. Subscribe.
There you
Hit the bell.
Hit
Make
the
a
bell.
comment.
Links in the bio.
Links in the bio. Do the happy dance.
I mean, if you want to see some good travel videos on Harley Davidson,
I dig it, man.
Bring it.
I look forward to the drops, man. I think I'm really looking forward to these Texas drops.
it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll make the cut.
And you know what the
Love
cool
you.
thing is, real quick, riding through Arizona and riding through New Mexico I was like really having a blast filming the city shit with the bridges and stuff. I was like
Yeah.
going, yeah, kind of like
Finally, not fields.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Turned out dope.
So let's get a nice little closeout. You know,
Okay.
what did we do just now?
We talked a lot of shit. You got kicked by a donkey, apparently.
Drink a lot of Montuckies and did
These cold snacks.
podcast.
We did a Fast Life podcast.
Yeah.
A Fast Life podcast
Or whatever.
and a 2-lane life.
2-Lane Life with special guest 2-Lane Life.
Well, tomorrow we're gonna like try to show you guys a piece of Texas that is worth. There's a lot of shit in Texas that's badass, but if you're trying to give you the cliff notes of Texas,
This is tomorrow.
this is tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you the best thing on the route, show you what's maybe, I don't know, maybe Twisted Sisters is a great ride. I don't know. I've never had a desire to go to it.
Really?
We'll figure that one out. See you down the road.
I had a good time. I don't know if you did, but I know I did. These guys are awesome. They ride, they smash beers, they crack jokes. They're normal bikers, and I love that about the 2-Lane Life crew. Had a great time with them. If you guys also want to support this podcast, you can do so by checking out our Patreon, patreon.com/FastLifeGarage. We've started a new series of episodes we're going to be putting out there called Cold Snacks. You know where we got that from. And we have one episode of that out. Plus, there's some other unreleased content if you want to check out some of the things that I was a little bit too embarrassed to put out there. It's there. Also, in doing so, you're supporting this podcast and keeping money coming in to where we can keep our equipment up, make these travels so that we can get other guests on and so on and so on. So do that if you want to. If not, you can also check out our sponsors, teamdreamrides.com, painthuffer.com, Fast Life 25 gets you 10% off. ShopTmax.com, use Fast Life offer code to save yourself 10%. Lexin-moto.com and Fast Life saves you 15% off your orders there. SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com, as well as NamsCustomCycleProducts.com, and use offer code FL2020 to save yourself some cash. Man, it's been a good month. I'm worn out. I've done something almost every weekend for 2 months, whether it was going to the Down South Campout or hosting parties or hosting the Hood Ride, which is what we just got finished doing this past weekend. Also, if you guys want to go over to our YouTube, not only can you see this last video, this podcast you just heard live, the video version of it, you can also see the couple of the videos that we've just finished, or podcasts we've just finished over the weekend that won't come out for another week or so on audio form. Also, I finally made a video. If you guys have been following this podcast for this past year, or 2 years actually, you know I've been wanting to get into the video space quite heavily. Well, I did it. I'm kind of proud, not gonna lie, but I do know that, as you know, with the skills and the talent that's out there in the video world, I have years and years to catch up to what's badass. But for my little ass, I'm happy for what I did. So if you want to check out the recap video of the hood ride, it's out there on YouTube. Also, don't forget to check out 2 Lane Life on YouTube. Their podcasts, their videos are badass, and they really kind of capture the vibe of riding cross country and doing this stuff. So anyway, we'll see you guys back next week, Wednesday. I'll be dropping Sit Down Steve podcast. I'll be honest with you, you want to watch that one. It's wild. I don't even know if it's going to come across the right way in podcast form, but yeah, it's a wild one. So if you want to check that one out now, you can go over to our YouTube. Sit the family down and watch that one. Actually, don't do that. Anyway, we'll see you guys back next week. You guys have a great Thanksgiving, and peace out. Bye.